Yes. Yes. Welcome to another session, another stream, another podcast here on the Chaos Rain Show. I'm Chaos Rain. You see the thumbnail. The title might speak for itself, but nonetheless, we got to have this conversation. And this conversation is well underdue. But before I give you the laydown and the percentages of this, I would consider a little rant conversation, and then I'll open up for those that want to come up by their own choice. Matter of fact, screw that. Yeah, screw that. Y'all know of a man named Brother Polight. You know, this man that matter of fact, I bet I'll show y'all then talking about it. Let's roll this image. Do you see that? The man was on social media so much on his high horse, so happy, so calm, so demeanor. And he says this. Well, he didn't say nothing yet, but he'll say something now. He's so happy, so proud of himself, so ecstatic to know that, you know, he's not going to do no time in jail. No time in jail at all. As what he wants the public to assume that's what's going on. But while he was partying and letting the whole world, the people that are the so-called cult leaders, because, you know, people are very much worshipers and followers. While he was doing that, this actually was the real truth of what that's happened to him now. Roll the tape, please.
Nowak, this is on for
LV Medina Marcus on behalf of the state, and just for the record, Your Honor, there are a victim's family on the Zoom. If we can make sure that that's
Your Honor, Mr. Nowak is heading up the escalator now. There has been a very last-minute change, material change to the plea offered by the state just this morning, so I am going to need time to relay this to him because it could be a deal breaker.
Okay, well, just to let you know, I'm a jury trial in 5 minutes.
Judge, I know that we can come back tomorrow. The state has mentioned that the alleged victims are present.
Yeah, the victims are present. They've taken off of work and off of school.
They're present on Zoom?
On the Zoom. They are with a lot of coordination to have this done today.
All right, is this your client here? No?
No, I believe he's an observer on this case who has presented threats to us in the past, so I would want to make the court aware of that. It was an issue the last time this gentleman was over.
Okay.
May let him inquire if and why he's here.
Yes, sir. What is your name, sir?
Hi.
Yes.
Larry Jones.
Okay, Mr. Jones, apparently counsel is saying that there have been threats made to him, and if there haven't, we're in a clean slate right now, but if I hear of anything from this moment on to anyone, you're going to have to answer to the court. Everybody is entitled to their opinion, but when we're in a court of law, when we're dealing with matters, there should be decorum and respect. So I just hope that everybody appreciates that. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not accusing you of anything, sir. All right? Okay. So you need to speak to him. You've got a new, is this going to be a written plea agreement?
There's a written plea agreement. There is one line that has changed. However, as defense mentioned, it does, change the terms in terms of, what was listed, that they need to review and with the clients this morning.
All right.
Is one line.
All right, we'll pass it. Again, if it takes too much more time and I have my jury ready to go, I'm bringing them in. That's going to be my priority.
Understood.
You know. Okay, thank you. All right, and Stark. Okay, no, all I can tell you is an allegation was made. Everybody's presumed innocent in this court, sir. All I wanted to do is let you be aware that they've made the allegation. It's a clean slate. Everything is good. Okay. Well, okay, we took care of the Nelson hearing. All right, we'll go off the record while we're waiting.
As we, going through this, guys, you can share this. Make sure you hit the like button as you come.
All right. Alvin, are all the jurors here?
Yes.
All right. What are we doing with Mr. Noack?
They're
Outside?
talking outside. I'm gonna go
Okay.
sit there.
Yeah, I've got to get this. Folks, we got to either take this plea now or I've got to. What are we doing? All right, quickly. All right, let's try this again. All
Your Honor,
right.
I want to be clear, however, that the individual
Before we continue, after I go through this actual taping, I'm gonna tell you a story of how I came across Brother Polight. I'm not sure if I ever shared this on Chaos Spring channel, but y'all gonna hear it tonight for those that really care, and I think most people care anyway because this been going. This been going viral. So we're gonna listen in. Fair use. Actually, no, it's not fair use. Actually, because let's be honest, this is in this court. This is actually presenting court hearing that the public could get. Let's continue.
There we go.
Are not going to be able to hear. Only that the victim and her mother are going to be able to hear.
I do not know how to do that at this juncture. You had brought this to my attention.
Was brought to your judicial assistant attention
When?
between the last hearing and this hearing.
Well, it is unfeasible right now.
I'd ask if the state assistant state attorney can make an attempt to call them and have them here by phone. Because if Your Honor is going to be speaking and there's all of these individuals who are going to be here able to, they're not going to be able to talk, but they're able to live stream, and that's not what we're intending.
Folks, you're raising issues that the court was not aware of. I have a jury. It is.
I want you to hear that again. This is the plaintiff that he was not expecting the whole world to see him get to plead, to the charges. Listen closely.
Unfeasible right now.
I'd ask if the the assistant state attorney can make an attempt to call them and have them here by phone. Because if Your Honor is going to be speaking and there's all of these individuals who are going to be here able to, they're not going to be able to talk, but they're able to live stream, and that's not what we're intending.
Folks, you're raising issues that the court was not aware of. I have a jury sitting outside waiting to come in. If you wish to reset this matter, room is always open. Zoom is a convenience. But as of right now, we do have those who are attending. I'm not going to just delete everybody from the proceedings. I honestly don't even know how to do it and just leave somebody able to hear everything.
It's being streamed right now live on YouTube.
Okay, well, if it's being streamed, it's being streamed. There's nothing I can do about that. But if the state and the defense wish to reset this for another date, this physical courtroom will be open to whomever wishes to attend.
Your Honor, I believe that it's an open courtroom, but the Zoom is not required.
I understand that, but I don't know how to go ahead and take out everybody except for one individual. They're already here. You're bringing this to my attention now. I'm giving the opportunity. If you want to reset this for tomorrow, we can do that.
Your Honor,
I have a jury trial that is sitting outside the door.
the concession the state made regarding crossing out that last line, the last term, was with the understanding that this would happen today because of the victim being out of school, the people being out of work. If this gets reset, we're not willing to amend that term.
Can we have, Your Honor, the victim and her mother be put into a breakout room with the court so that only they are allowed to hear the proceedings?
Quite frankly, I can put someone in a breakout room, but then they're now goes on in this courtroom. We're not in a breakout room. You're putting me in a very difficult position.
Can the state attempt to call them?
We would ask that the proceeding proceed. We've confirmed that there will be no interruptions by muting everyone who is not needed to be heard during this procession. Courtrooms are open, and that's the nature of courtrooms.
Then we're going to go forward. That's all I can tell you. We're going to go forward. All right. So I have a.
I'm going to rewind that one more time for all y'all that's listening. And this is one thing that no one has really picked on. And I mean, literally did not pick on. When before he was about to stand in front of a virtual jury, or he's right there in the court to take on the plea deal, it seemed to me Brother Polight doesn't want everybody to stream this on YouTube. Has anybody picked on that? Hold on. Listen. I don't know about y'all. But I pay attention to everything, including every word, every detail. Now, I'm rewinding this back one more time. I want y'all to listen closely. And the reason I'm doing this the second and last time, listen to his lawyer, or Polight's lawyer, and what he did not want the whole public or the whole world, especially as big as a media platform as YouTube, for the word to come out of him accepting his plea deal. And make sure you guys like the stream and share the stream. And I'm telling you right now, I don't care how many times it's been played out by bigger channels. I don't give a crap. This is Chaos Rain channel. I'm playing because I want to set in home mentally. And the way that's going to happen is if you got to hear it for yourself. You got to hear it for yourself. So I'm going to run this one more time. Let's listen in one more time. One more time for the road.
I honestly don't even know how to do it and just leave somebody able to hear everything. So you're raising issues that the court was not aware of. Unfeasible right now. I do not know how to do that at this juncture. You had brought this to my attention.
Guys, I'm going to wind it back a little bit. All right, that's good enough.
He's still.
All right,
let's try this again. All right.
We want to be clear, however, that the individuals
There we
we're
go.
concerned about are not going to be able to hear it.
I do not know how to do that at this juncture. You had brought this to my attention.
Was brought to your judicial assistant attention.
When?
Between the last hearing and this hearing.
Well, it is unfeasible right now.
I'd ask if the assistant state attorney can make an attempt to call them and have them here by phone. Because if your honor is going to be speaking and there's all of these individuals who are going to be here able to, they're not going to be able to talk, but able to live stream, and that's not what we're intending.
Folks, you're raising issues that the court was not aware of. I have a jury sitting outside waiting to come in. If you wish to reset this matter, this courtroom is always open. Zoom is a convenience. But as of right now, we do have those who are attending. I'm not going to just delete everybody from the proceedings. I honestly don't even know how to do it and just leave somebody able to hear everything.
It's being streamed right now live on YouTube.
Okay, well, if it's being streamed, it's being streamed. There's nothing I can do about that. But if the state and the defense wish to reset this for another date, this physical courtroom will be open to whomever wishes to attend.
Your honor, I believe that it is an open courtroom, but the Zoom is not required.
I understand that, but I don't know how to go ahead and take out everybody except for one individual. They're already here. You're bringing this to my attention now. I'm giving the opportunity. If you want to reset this for tomorrow, we can do that.
Your Honor,
I have a jury trial that is sitting outside the door.
the concession the state made regarding crossing out that last line, the last term, was with the understanding that this would happen today because of the victim being out of school, the people being out of work. If this gets reset, we're not willing to amend that term.
Can we have, Your Honor, the victim and her mother be put into a breakout room with the court so that only they are allowed to hear the proceedings?
Quite frankly, I can put someone in a breakout room, but then they're now prevented from hearing what goes on in this courtroom. We're not in a breakout room. You're putting me in a very difficult position.
Can the state attempt to call them?
We would ask that the proceeding proceed. We've confirmed that there will be no interruptions by muting everyone who is not needed to be heard during this procession. Courtrooms are open, and that's the nature of courtrooms.
Then we're going to go forward. That's all I can tell you. We're going to go forward. All right. So I have a 4-page plea agreement that was signed by the counsel and the defendant. It was signed on today's date. And on page 1, there is a line on paragraph 5. I cannot read what the handwriting says, so maybe somebody can assist.
Your Honor, the state has crossed out one line of paragraph 5 and has written on the side, this crossed out line does not apply, and then initialed and dated.
Line does not apply. Okay, and that's your initials there?
Correct, Judge.
Okay.
Your Honor, before you proceed with the plea, we do have an amended information that we're filing right now.
Okay.
The state, in case F21-14438, is filing an amended information for purposes of the plea and in contemplation of resolving the case of 2 counts of child abuse, aggravated, great bodily harm, or torture, felonies in the first degree, of contributing to delinquency of a dependent or dependency of a child, a misdemeanor in the first degree.
All right. So please arraign on the new information.
We enter a plea of guilty.
No, on the new, arraign on the new information. You're entering a not guilty plea at this point?
At this point.
Okay, and setting it for jury trial, all discovery to be provided. And are we ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, if I can have the defendant sworn.
Raise your right hand. Other hand. Do you swear affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, I'll need the old information. I want the defendant to be aware of what he was originally facing and what the new information. This is the new information.
I didn't give it to you? Oh, I have one second.
All right. Okay, can you tell me your full name and date of birth?
Michael Eugene Oak Jr., August 10th, 1983.
All right, thank you. You were originally charged under case number F21-14438 with the following charges.
And one other thing, I do want to say this, because to those that's not familiar, I have followed Brother Polight for a good long time, and I always had an inclination. What's good, Sankofa? I always had inclination, personally, that the man was born on the 25th of August. but I did not know he really was born on the 10th of August. So he was, his birthday was August 10th. The year is exact. He is born 1983, so he is now 40 years old. Oh, Sankofa, you want the link? Let me know in the chat room, all right? So the date of birth and everything else is accurate. So let's keep listening.
Lewd and lascivious molestation on a child, a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years state prison. Count 2 was lewd and lascivious molestation on a child, 12 to 16 years, a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years state prison. Lewd and lascivious conduct on a child under 16 by a defendant 18 or over, a second-degree felony, punishable by 15 years state prison. Count 4, lewd and lascivious exhibition on a child under 16 years, defendant over 18, a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years state prison. And contributing to the dependency of a child, a first-degree misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in jail. And then count 6 is interference with custody, a third-degree felony, punishable by up to 5 years state prison. The state has now filed an amended information today, charging you with the following: aggravated child abuse, great bodily harm, a first-degree felony, punishable by up to 30 years state prison. Count 2 is aggravated child abuse, great bodily harm, a first-degree felony, punishable by up to 30 years state prison. And contributing to the dependency of a child, a first-degree misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in jail. It is my understanding that you wish to plead guilty to this new information. You would be adjudicated guilty, and your sentence has been memorialized in a 4-page plea agreement. Did you have the opportunity to go over this plea agreement with your lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. I do need the defendant to initial each page because there are not initials on these pages. Okay. Let me know when it's done. Mr. Nowak, that you have gone over this plea agreement with your lawyer, and I want to go over it with you, not each and every aspect of it, but the major components of the plea agreement. But what I am going to ask is for the state to tell me the general terms of the plea agreement and then go into the details on the contract. Go ahead.
Your Honor, the plea agreement includes an adjudication, 7 years of state prison, followed by 10 years of reporting probation. As a condition of probation, the defendant will...
Would you say 10 years probation?
10 years reporting probation. Okay. The defendant will complete the MDSO program. The defendant will not be allowed to have unsupervised contact with children. The defendant will have specific terms regarding where he may work and the ability to wear a uniform. There are additional terms of restitution, of which $5,000 has been agreed to be paid upfront within 24 hours, mailed to the to the victim, and additional restitution to be paid out on a monthly basis once he is out of custody. And that monthly amount is highlighted in the written terms of the plea agreement. Additionally, there will be a stay-away order from victim TS and her mother, which is also mentioned in the plea agreement.
What is the total amount of the restitution?
The total amount of restitution is $25,000.
Okay. All right.
The defendant's counsel going to be providing probation with the proof of the $5,000 being paid?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Okay, so Mr. Nowak, the terms of the plea agreement are as what the prosecutor just stated, that you are going to be entering a plea of guilty to the 2 counts of aggravated child abuse and 1 count of contributing to the delinquency of a minor. You will be adjudicated guilty, which is a criminal conviction on your record. Do you also understand, sir, that by entering into this plea that it may subject you to involuntary civil commitment proceedings set forth in Florida statutes 394.910 through 394.931. Do you understand everything that I've said thus far?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want to also advise you, sir, that you are going to be sentenced to 7 years in state prison, to be followed by 10 years of reporting probation. In addition to any of these special conditions of probation, you will also participate in and successfully complete a mentally disordered sex offender treatment program, that you are also not eligible. Okay, you may, according to the state, you may be eligible for early termination if all of the conditions of your probation have been completed, that you have had no violations of your probation, and that you have not been arrested for any other criminal offense. Is that correct, State?
And to clarify, the terms stated in 5 is there is no prohibition on early termination. However, there is a requirement that any modification to this agreement be agreed by the state and the court.
Okay. All right, sir. Now, with respect to this plea agreement, I have on each page, next to defendant's initials, MN. Did you in fact affix those initials to each page?
I did.
And have you reviewed each and every component of this plea agreement, going through page 1 and through page 4?
I have.
Now it says on page 4, having read the above mentioned terms of this plea agreement and having been advised by my counsel, David Terrace, I, Michael Noak, freely and voluntarily enter into this plea agreement and agree to abide by all terms and conditions of this plea agreement, and agree that failure to comply with any terms or conditions within this agreement constitutes a violation of probation and subjects me to be sentenced to the statutory maximum penalties provided by law for the crimes for which I am now pleading guilty. And then it has a signature over the name Michael Noack. Is that in fact your signature, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. And I am now going to place my signature on this plea agreement, in that I am now going to be ratifying this plea agreement as negotiated between the state of Florida and your attorney. Has anybody, including your lawyer, told you anything differently than what I've just told you?
No.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medication affecting your ability to understand me?
No.
Is anybody forcing, threatening, or coercing you to enter into this plea?
No.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, the entry of this plea will have negative immigration consequences, including deportation and removal?
Understand.
You had the right, sir, to have gone to a jury trial where your lawyer had the ability to compel the attendance of witnesses on your behalf, the ability to confront and cross-examine the witnesses and evidence against you. You had the right to testify just like any other witness, or remain silent, and your silence could not have been used against you if you went to a jury trial. You also had the right to appeal any mistakes that I would have made during the course of the trial, and the right to hold the state of Florida to the burden of proving these charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand, sir, that by entering into this plea, that you are giving up all of these rights and we will not have a jury trial?
I do.
Have you discussed this plea with your lawyer?
Yes.
Has he answered all of your questions?
Absolutely.
Are you satisfied with your lawyer's services and advice?
Definitely.
Did the state provide all the discovery in your possession to the defense?
Yes.
Did the defense review all of the discovery in your possession with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do both sides know of any physical evidence containing DNA that would exonerate the defendant?
No.
No, Your Honor.
And do both sides stipulate to a factual basis for this plea?
Yes.
Defense stipulated.
And the court has reviewed the arrest affidavit, makes a finding that there is a factual basis for the plea. Mr. Noack, are there any witnesses or is there any evidence that you wanted your lawyer to investigate or me to receive before entering into this plea?
No.
All right. The court finds that the defendant understands the nature of the charges against him and the consequences of this plea, that he has been represented by competent and effective assistance of counsel with whom he says he is satisfied. I find the defendant has knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waived his rights. All statutory fines, court costs, and surcharges will be assessed. Counsel, do you waive PSI?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes,
All right. Now, Mr. Noack, you do understand, as I mentioned to you before, that the state, as they had articulated earlier, you may be eligible for early termination as long as certain conditions are met. That means no violations. You've done everything that you were supposed to do. You've not been arrested for any criminal offense, and the state is in agreement with it as well as the court's ratification. On the other hand, sir, if you violate any terms and conditions of this probation, and that includes getting arrested for any other criminal offense, that you could be subject to the maximum period of time in prison, which by my calculations is 61 years state prison. You do understand that?
Yeah.
And knowing all of this, do you still wish to enter into this plea?
Yes.
All right. The court finds the defendant, as I mentioned before, understands the nature of the charges against him and the consequences of this plea, that he has been represented by competent and effective assistance of counsel with whom he says he is satisfied. I find the defendant has knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waived his rights. All statutory fines, court costs, and surcharges will be assessed. Is there anything further as it relates to Mr. Noack? I do have on the Zoom that the victim's mother wanted to address the court.
Correct. And, Your Honor, nothing more from the state except to let Your Honor know if you can unmute the victim's mother, and she will be listed as victim Noack in the Zoom, and she is requesting, pursuant to Marcy's law, that her identity remain anonymous. So for that reason, she will not be stating her name, but she will be making a statement regarding this.
Where would it be?
It should say victim and then in parentheses Noack. Sorry. You see it when it says victim Noack?
Okay, yes, 1 second.
Y'all hear me? Hello. All right, good. Make sure you like the stream, share the stream. You could donate, super chat, cash app, scrolling. I'll put it in the chat room in a second, but we had to get down to the business. He will do only 7 years in jail with a 10-year probation. If he violates 10 years during that probation period, he'll be doing 60-something years, the max sentence for all the charge that was played and placed on him for being a child rapist, a molester, a graper, all the above. Damn. God damn. Your math teacher did 120-something years right now since 2003. And isn't it ironic? Isn't it ironic? I see Jay Shine. I see you on Kofa. And follow me, gentlemen. Michael Noah, born 83, when his math teacher got sentenced, he was just roughly 19 years of age, going on 20 that year in 2003. And we lo and behold, roughly over 20 years since your math teacher has been sentenced to 125 years, you are now doing time in jail for the same thing that your math teacher got locked up by. Ain't that a coincidence? Ain't that a coincidence? Ladies and gentlemen, God damn, you can't make this stuff up. Just like your math teacher that you're going to be doing time in jail, and if you slip up after you get out in 7 years, that you'll do 60 years? Oh, and Jay Shine wrote in the chat room, she should be going to jail with him. Jay Shine, I want you to come up, bro. I got some. I'm going to look up this old article because Sadness said her name on his little so-called podcast, wherever his channel is, right? Like she's doing a favor that nobody knows. Everybody knows what she is because there's articles now when this happened back in 2021. They got pictures of her and her daughter. So she's not doing no favors hiding her identity. Everybody knows who you are. You're just a wicked mother, just like some of these women that have these unknown men. I don't care if they got money or not. Be around your children. Now, is it possible every man that you enter in your lives, lady, that's going to be a predator and not only give you the back shot, but also give your daughters or whoever the back shot? There's no guarantee in life. That's a possibility. I'll tell you one thing. If you're going to be out here parenting by yourself and you're going to be out here dating again, you better use discretion. Now I'm gonna continue let this keep playing just to hear his mother's little. And we all know she a wicked bad mother. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and can I say something real quick? I find
Go
it
ahead.
funny. It wasn't until Brother Polight like got big, and then when he did the debate with the Jew and all that, talking about who the real Hebrews and all this other stuff. That's when Polight's life seemed to kind of like take a turn. You know what I'm saying? With all him being, with his consciousness, doing a lot of debates and stuff like that. He kind of like put himself as Polight was targeted, man. I mean, just like his master teacher. I just feel like it was a targeted thing. And why is all this? As a person that studied law and stuff like that, a lot of stuff that's going on. Like they saying, if you do this, then we'll basically just saying like if he just basically stay on good behavior, this is not gonna stick. So if he really did this, something like this should have stick no matter what.
No.
I'm confused about it, man. But I'm gonna let you do your thing, man. But I just say this is fishy. Just listen to that whole court proceeding. It's a little fishy to me.
Say Copa, I would agree with you, but I had to kind of disagree because I've been following this for the last 2 years. One thing is evident, and as much as we want to hear or not, and let's be honest, this is all in options of pro-blackness, and let's be honest, the way how pro-blackness has been going on for the last decade and a half is actually been put to bed. Anyone after early 2000s, mid to late 2000s, is here as a hustler. And I'm gonna tell you my story about my interaction with Polight personally after this, right? But I would say this: the only person that had some relevance of really giving conscience and taking action was Khalid Abdul Muhammad, but it took him out 22 years ago, back in February. And ever since then, all these jokers that you see come around, it's all been a hustle. There's nothing of sincerity, anything of any actions, anything of progression, besides saying better than mine. And trust me, we have all other teachers and stuff that have been better than mine for decades. But once these guys gone, and they get these new crowd of Negroes, it just went to the toilet. So let's hear it from the mother herself.
All right, you may unmute, ma'am.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. All right, so what I'd like you to do is, well, you don't want to give your name, so at this point, just go ahead and you can give us an impact statement. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Michael Nowak. This is the first time I have spoken publicly about what you've done to my daughter and I. I have gracefully remained silent the last 2.5 years. 2.5 years of pain, shock, disbelief, PTSD, constant nightmares, and daily triggers. Trying to help my daughter heal when I'm not even healed myself. What you have done to my daughter, myself, and my entire family is inexcusable. You hurt us all. You made me believe that you were such a great man and you could do no wrong. You made me fully trust you, and for that my daughter trusted you too. But the truth is, you're a monster, a demon. My daughter, the very person you told me you was gonna be downstairs. You were gonna grab food and take vacation pictures. You told me that you wanted that one-on-one part of love. And you were gonna bring her right back. I thought you were gonna have this trusting conversation with her that you promised me. Her and I both trusted you. For a grown man to violate a child who trusted him, you should be ashamed of yourself. You plotted on me and my little girl. The entire time you knew what you planned to do. Isolate, intoxicate, then violate my baby. Shame on you. I trusted you to bring her right back. You were supposed to bring her back the same way that you took her. Instead, you drugged her and took advantage of her. And you sexually abused her. You forced alcohol down her throat. You then forced her to see things that no child should ever have to see. You forced her to feel things that no child should have to feel. You forced her to accept violence that no child should ever have to endure. You forced drugs in her that no human should ever even ingest. She's my child. My baby. How could you? How could you? You could have killed her with all the drugs that were found in her system. And you thought your master plan was mapped out perfectly, huh? You thought I'd be dumb enough to believe you over my child. And you thought that money would blind me. You thought I was going to be so blinded that I wouldn't notice when you returned her with bruises all over her body and her mouth busted, uncontrollably shaking. Absolutely not. And although you executed your plan and you got what you wanted those couple of hours, you actually failed. Because look where you're at right now. You have created a lifetime of trauma for my daughter and I. Before you, we never knew evil existed. You brought so much evil into our lives that early morning, and I'll never forget. I called you like 50 times and you wouldn't answer me. And I called her too, but you took her phone. You drugged my baby and you gave her no way to seek help. You left me no way to contact her or even know where she was. I get physically sick now whenever I'm away from my daughter because of you. Something as simple as her going to school, I'm in panic mode. Because I'm scared when she comes back, she's gonna be hurt all over again. I constantly have flashbacks of that night. And what she lives with is not okay. She feels uncomfortable around people and will live with this forever, and this is not fair to her. She never deserved this. Shame on you for forcing evil on our youth. And you know, for a year, I questioned, how could you even do this to us? Her and I did nothing wrong to you. We trusted you. I moved across the country because I believed everything that you told me. But it was pure manipulation I see now. All you do is specialize in selling false dreams. How could you do this to an innocent child and mother who simply trusted you? We did nothing wrong. But you know what? I'm done breaking my head trying to question or figure out how you could do such a thing. It's so simple to me now. You're just a sick man. A man you can have a plethora of women, but you secretly prefer to have a child. And it's so clear now. I will never be able to fully trust another person due to the betrayal that you've shown me. And for that, I was not willing to trust 6 strangers and go to trial. Nor was I going to put my daughter through an additional trauma. This plea was in our best interest. You and I both know the evidence is extremely substantial. But even with that, I refuse to have my child be tormented when she's done nothing wrong. All she holds is the truth. And I will say this, although you were so worried about being labeled a sex offender, you did us a huge favor by admitting to guilt, period. So for that, I thank you. I truly thank you. Yes, mitigation took place and I allowed it as long as it meant you going to prison and you getting true help. Because true help means no more victims. The fact that your only non-negotiable was to accept a sex crime shows exactly the type of man that you are. You know what you did in that hotel room. I know what you did, and my daughter knows what you did. DNA doesn't lie. There's no reason why your DNA should have been found on my baby. And yes, I satisfied your bogus request to not be able to sex offender, but it doesn't take away from who you truly are. I wasn't going to waste any time going back and forth with you over a label. God will judge you for exactly the person he knows you to be, a sexual predator. So rest assured, jail time equals jail time. And I pray that during your 10 years of sex offender probation, you actually receive the treatment that you need, and it helps heal your sick mind and get the thoughts of being with children out of it. All you care about is your pretend image. But I know exactly who you are now. You want to be this public figure, but you want to do all your evil acts in secret. You're so self-centered. That's why the last time I saw you on February 27, 2021, you fought me. You tried to hold me hostage from taking my daughter to the hospital. I'll never forget that cowardly look in your eyes. I'll never forget it. You were so scared. You were so scared because you realized you messed with the wrong one. Your last words to me, you held me and said, please don't go. You're gonna ruin my career. Well, today, September 6th, last words to you are, I hope the next 17 years of your life, you're reminded of the disgusting, terrifying, unforgettable acts that you've done to my innocent daughter. Shame on you. And although you've caused a tremendous amount of trauma for myself and my daughter, we will and will always be superior of you, because a successful, honest career is something that you could never, ever have. We will both continue to stand against violence. My daughter will continue to persevere and be bright and intelligent and a courageous young woman that she is. So Michael Nowak, I hope you enjoy prison, and God bless you.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your courage for speaking. It is heartbreaking, and my heart goes out to you and your daughter. All right. The defendant will be remanded to the Department of Corrections.
CPS.
He's given credit for any
Misdemeanor judge.
we can do CTS on the misdemeanor, yes. He's giving credit time, whatever he's gotten in.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
Also,
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah. All right. Barbara's Alvin. Where is he? Alvin? Huh?
Okay.
Okay. Let him know we're ready to go.
Let me get 5 minutes.
Go. Do that now. We are really late. I will go off the record. 5 minutes.
If you guys watching, welcome to the Chaos Rain Show. I'm Chaos Rain here, and I have Sankofa and I have Jay Shine. And before I let y'all guys talk, I was looking for this thing of the mother. Hey, Jay Shine, you know what the mother look like? Have you seen a mother that is the so-called the victim daughter?
Yeah, I
Seen
saw
mother?
a picture of her a couple years ago.
All right, well, let me show it to the people so they know what we're talking about. Let me do this. I'm fast forwarding some. Yeah, that's not giving me. All right, let me save the picture. Y'all guys talk as I try to pull up this picture. All right.
Peace, Sankofa.
Save it. Actually, I think this could allow me. Let me see. Let me try some string up. Yeah, man. All right, let me present this so everybody know who the woman they're talking about. Slideshow. Oh, no, that's wrong. Shit, wrong one. Share screen. Let me see if it'll pull up.
Hey, Chaos, just flash it, okay?
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah, you can take it down now.
That's the mother.
Yeah, take it
All right,
down.
take it down.
Yeah, because you know how it go. You know how this shit go.
Yeah, people know. And she is from looks at this look like white Hispanic. Yeah, dude, you effed up right there. You went now, mind you, if this is a black woman and a daughter, it'd be hard he would have probably got by easier than this. But because she's not black, yeah, you effed up, bro. You screwed up big time. But like I said, like father, well, actually, master teacher, like master teacher, it follows at the end of the day. And as I might go in my story a little bit, but I like I said, open the panel for people to know what's up and have the conversation. But I feel for the mother, but I look at she a piece of shit, and the reason why is because you're around a man that has money, and you might seem like you in the good interest of your daughter. The public might believe that, but we all know you're a bad mother because you allow an unknown person, I don't care how long you've been knowing this dude, to go out with your daughter in a party. I remember most dudes that's from last time I checked, I could be wrong, take out single mother's daughters out late at night to parties. I don't recalling a lot of males doing that. I could be wrong. Can any of y'all guys address me on this? That's some new stuff to me.
No, I ain't never heard of that shit either.
Have you heard about this, Jay Shine?
So say it again. I looked away.
I said of baby mamas with, I guess, some boyfriends take their daughters out and parties at night.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And Mary, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Y'all don't know if you heard that. Remember that? What's that? Remember y'all help me out. What's that big girl that used to sing with R. Kelly? She had a real good voice.
Kelly Price.
Kelly Price. Now you can't pull this up because he will strike your page. But she did an interview on Vlad TV.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all need to go check it out. This is after the R. Kelly situation, right? So
yeah.
Go through the archives, just or type in Kelly Price and Vlad TV, and she had, and he puts snippets, right? He breaks up the interviews into clips.
Yeah.
There's a clip out there right now, it's still on YouTube, where she's talking about how women would bring their daughters backstage, throwing their daughters. She's seen it with her own eyes. This is Kelly Price telling the story.
Wow.
So this is a black woman telling the story about what she witnessed.
Wow.
All right. So when we talk about these young women constantly being at the studio, how they get into the studio? Right?
That's what I want to know. Yeah.
So I don't want to hear no shit about making excuses for R. Kelly. No. Fuck R. Kelly. Fuck Polight. My point is we have a bigger problem that these judges are not dealing with. This woman is not a victim.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted red bottoms. She's not a victim.
Oh no.
Yeah, she wanted red bottoms, VIP. And we have a big problem in our society of women allowing strangers around their kids. And they're not being held accountable. There are going to be predators in our world. There are going to be rapists in our world. There's going to be scammer artists in our world. There's going to be killers in our world. That's part of human condition.
Exactly.
That's not unique to American society. That's been going on since humans have been around.
Yeah.
And now we have a systematic system that's allowing strangers through the mothers to have access to kids that are not theirs. She should be in jail with him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She is that's the sick part of this. One of the perpetrators is acting like she loves the victim.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine you get assaulted, Chaos, right? You get assaulted and beat up and robbed every day, right? And the person that sets you up to get beat up and robbed every day is kissing you on the forehead, talking about he love you or she love you. Think about that.
Yeah, man, bro, it's some sickening stuff. I mean, that's not love, right? That's just like using you and abusing you in a way.
Yeah, when I first heard about that, Polight, SETI and all them, man, they were the reason why I became conscious. I became woke. When I first heard about Polight, the accusations about Polight touching a child, I was a little skeptical because I know how modern women can be. But then, the DNA and all that stuff came out that it was true. I'm like, man, fuck it. I can't deal with no dude like that messing with babies and stuff. Cause my little girl was great by her step grandfather. He dead now, but the fact of the matter is I couldn't get to him fast enough because my truck wouldn't start. You know what I'm saying? So my heart goes out to the little girl, not the mama.
Yeah, I'm sorry that happened to your little girl, Sankofa.
Yeah, I didn't know that, Sankofa. And mind you, man, you in law enforcement, so say you got that thing, and you beat. Well, I'm gonna chill.
And just for full disclosure, Sankofa, I'm also a father of a girl. So we're both girl dads, and so this is not coming from a place of hate. This is coming from a place of furiousness. I got into one I don't argue with females online, Cash. You know that. All right. Once a chick get out of line, I think it was on your panel. I told her, get her ass off this panel. You know how I get down. I don't do that shit. I don't argue with these bitches for no reason. But I did get into an argument with a female named Koja over this Polight shit 2.5 years ago on BMT's panel.
Okay.
And it seems like there's more women who care more about a black man going to jail, and then by extension, putting this stigma on all black men. They care more about that than the actual little girl. And what I said was, I hope, this is what I said. I didn't defend Polight. I said, I hope this is not true. Think about what I'm saying. All I said, Chaos, is I hope this shit ain't true.
Yeah.
And that turned into somehow I'm defending Polight. Well, I wasn't really defending Polight. The truth of the matter is she was going after black men, right? And on that panel. And the reason I said, and I said this on that stream, and I say it again, the reason I hoped it wasn't true is because now we got a little girl that this happened to. For this to be true, you have to have a girl now who's been violated, right? And her life is going to be changed forever for this to be true. So I'm hoping it's not true because I hope this didn't happen really to a young girl. You know what I mean? But they don't see it that way. They want it to be true so they can crucify black men. Think about that mentality.
Yeah.
It's
a weapon. It's always a weapon. When black men.
Sorry,
it's always a weapon. See, you gotta understand the psychology of a lot of our modern women today. Jay Sean, they'll use any given information to weaponize and paint all forms of black men, from the ones that work, don't work, that have children. They paint the picture and say, "This is all you Negroes." Justification. You get me? So they could market and broadcast it more to the world. And just for the sake of conversation, for those that know that I did not cover this so-called Somali chick, and I'm refusing to talk about it on the stream. So if you guys could refrain, I appreciate it. And the reason why, because I'm at the point now that there's too much of a market and too much of a hustle, as we see going on here, that people are using anything now to create more of the buy and more money. So keep going. I just want to lay that out right now because I don't want nobody to slip that in because I don't want to give nobody airtime. So that's more.
It's all good, man. This is a complicated situation, and the fact that we're not dealing with the reality of things. You know what I mean? Since Sankofa said what he said, I'll say this about the situation with my daughter. Now, my daughter wasn't violated, but her mother did something that was so crazy one time because I had custody of my daughter, right? So, one time my daughter was visiting with her mother, and my daughter's mother called me and told me, "You need to talk to your daughter." I said, "Talk to her about what?" "She's too friendly." I said, "Friendly? What are you talking about?" She's like, "Well, she was over my friend's house, and and she, my friend had her boyfriend, her friends over there, and my daughter was being a little too laffy taffy with them. She don't know those people." And I was like, "Okay, so where were you at?" "Oh, I went home to get some rest. I left her over at my friend's house to hang with her kids." And I said, "You went where?" She's like, "I was tired, so I went home and left her." I said, "You left my daughter with some fucking people you hardly know?" Chaos, man, I flipped the fuck out, man. I almost went to jail that day. But she dropped my daughter off And we had this conversation. Nigga, I think my neighbors were scared. You know, I'm in Virginia in this nice upscale apartment complex. I'm talking about flipping out. Don't you ever leave my daughter with some people. What the hell is wrong with you? You have 2 days with her every other
But
weekend.
Jay Sean, this is what kills me, bro. When it's talking about saying these mothers are better off raising the children by themselves, I say no, the f they're not.
Yeah.
See, and it's proven evident because you're actually a full-time parent with an adult daughter now. Sankofa has a child, and the people that I have, friends I have that I do podcasts right with, most of them have custody of their children on the average, right? And they're doing pretty fine with their children when under custody of a man. And the reason why is because there's actual protection, which this is the reason why the state makes a conscious effort say, I cannot have the men involved with their children. It's evident now because by leaving these women to their devices, you're going to screw up your children, right? As education wise, or even we can go as far as you will screw them up where they get taken advantage sexually without your knowledge. For her to sit there and say, you know, your daughter's too friendly, and then I just left mom with some people I know. So what the hell do you think that's going to happen? You left your daughter, not you, Jay, but to the mother. Say, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
Like literally. You don't really think of foresight. You up here. I hope she was really cuss you out that day when before you found out you gave her the word of God, because to me saying, how dare you sitting here tell me what you don't like what my daughter doing, and you leave them with a bunch of strangers that you don't vouch or vet properly.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You get 2 days every other weekend. This is your time to be mama. I don't give a fuck how tired you are. How you think what I am? Every week, you know, this is the conversation I hear from a lot of women about how tired they are, right? And how hard it is to raise children. And you know what, Chaos? I would agree with them. I would agree with them. But you don't have the kid. I do. So why the fuck you sitting here singing about being tired? See, this is the irresponsibility of these mothers. And now this situation here, that with fucking I almost dropped my phone when you played the impact statement because I didn't listen to the whole impact statement until this point. Near the end of the impact statement,
Yeah,
she
some
talks
of it was
about.
cut out. That's my thing. I'm like, all the income crying and stuff started like good. I didn't even like the whole impact statement couldn't even be really heard on her end. I guess her Wi-Fi and stuff was messed up, but you know.
Yeah. But that part when she talked about I trusted you to go have a conversation with her at night. Dude, these fucking judges. Like, you remember that viral, I don't know, Kofi, I don't know if you remember, there was a viral video of a judge admonishing a black woman that gave access to the child in the courthouse, in the courtroom. It was a few years ago, about 5-6 years ago. There was a viral video of this white judge admonishing, it was somewhere down south, admonishing the mother, because they convicted the man, her boyfriend, right, for doing what he did to the children. But he was admonishing the mother. And I'm sitting there watching the viral video, like, why is he not locking her up? Why are these judges not locking these women up?
Oh, you talking about where the daddy had ended up punching the dude?
No, it wasn't a daddy. It was a stepfather. It was a boyfriend. You know, and she was in there. Yes, Your Honor. You right, Your Honor. Sobbing and shit. And he just kept going on and on, admonishing her about how she's a bad mother and all sorts of stuff. And I'm like, why are these judges not locking these women up?
Because women got the privilege of being a woman, the accountability of a 2-year-old. That's why.
I mean, to play with children, that we have a society that cares more about protecting women than to protecting children. This is an easy issue to fix. I feel the same way about drug dealers' girlfriends. You know what I mean? But that's a whole nother live stream. We have a society that's allowing kids the kids to be given and be access to be given to by predators through the mothers. This doesn't happen without the mother. Polight can't just walk up to a young girl and just do what he wants to do. No one's even thinking about that. You can't just walk up to my daughter and do what you want to do to her when she was 13, 14 years old without me allowing it. This is so fucking disgusting to me.
And I want to talk back because I had accidentally left the live stream. But when women talk about how they society, one man does something, now all men are lumped in with the same man, that done with the same one man that done something. When you ask the woman what type of man are you talking about, they cannot give you a specific description, because society has told women that all men, for every one man that does something, 3,000 of the other men or more has done the same thing. So women has this abundance mindset when it comes to men doing things.
Mm-hmm.
They're not looking at the individual. They're looking at every other man. And now this woman done allowed Brother Polight to, do this stuff with her daughter. Now she said, "Oh, now I know who you are." You didn't think about this before you allowed your child to be around that man?
She didn't care about character. She didn't care about character.
The little impact statement was weak as shit.
Well, let me tell you something. Listen. Brother Polight had status and money. And with most women that are single, depending on their economic status, they will let stuff fly by. Remember what Jay Shine said earlier with R. Kelly. These are, and mind you, this is like 2-3 years before they sentenced him, right? Was it 2-3 years? Maybe 1 of them years, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are coming out saying that the parents, the mothers especially, are sending and selling their daughters to this man, the hope of the possibility of rags and riches.
All right.
So if you're thinking in that fashion, what else you think is not possible for a man that has money like Polight, last my check, and he's giving and putting a persona of the rich life? I got the fancy cars. I look swagged out, dressed to heads and toe. I got all these women. I got harems women. That's how they get these females.
Yeah,
you have that?
Crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, man. And what is crazy about it is that, when this shit came out 2.5 years ago, right? There was a bunch of people online, men and women, but mostly women, who wanted to go after Sarnetta because he did live streams with Polight.
Yeah, and
because he had a history, right? And they wanted to, because he had a history and he knew about the history. Then why was you working with him? Why was you doing live streams? But none of these fucking women said anything about these other women that are with him all the time and have their children around him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's another thing I brung up on that live stream when I got into the argument with Koja, with her fucking man-hating ass. She don't care about these. She showed that how children don't even matter. You got a bunch of other single mothers that was around Polight.
Yeah.
And they're there. You talking about a nigga named Sarnetta and just in New York doing live streams on them all over the internet. But you ain't even talking about the women who are right there. Now, we have a girl that's been violated. We're supposed to question everybody. You're supposed to investigate everybody.
Everybody's culprit because they allow it.
Because they're around. That's what I'm saying. They're around the situation. And there's nothing but women around them. So now we're not even dealing with the women. We're just dealing with him. We're not dealing with the enablers of a predator. See, what you really should name this live stream, Chaos, is the preying of a predator. How you have women who prey on criminals. No one wants to have that conversation.
Nah.
How women gravitate to fucking scam artists and criminals. And crazy niggas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And have sex with them and party with them and on Instagram, shining with them. And then having kids that are not their kids around them. Let's take it back to a more simpler situation. We see it all the time, right? What's the spot we go to go get our little family portraits? We go to Walmart, right? A lot of those black portraits are blended, what we call blended families. It's a female, her kid or two kids by two different or another man, right? And her new boyfriend. Now, you're sitting here taking a family photo with your boyfriend, somebody who never gave you a ring, and you allowing somebody around your child that's not your husband.
Hmm.
And if something happens in that situation, we never hold the person who had the power over them, which was the parent. And in most cases in Black America, that's the mother.
Hmm.
So we just won't address this situation. So we see time after time after time when kids are getting molested, they molested by somebody through the mother, whether it's a mother, the family member of the mother, her uncle, one of them uncles, right? Remember those uncle stories? But it's always the uncle of the mom, a brother of the mom,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Or so it's either one of her family members or her boyfriend, the next man she chose. Now this situation is a lot more cleaner than that because this is just I'm hanging around a dude that got a bunch of other females, and he has money, and we party all the time. And I get to get some bags and some name brand clothes off this nigga. So I'm gonna let him have access to my child, some other man's daughter.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then we're gonna sit here and act
And
like she's a victim. That's why I told you to take that picture down real quick, because if you leave it up, whatever, it could turn into, because
yeah,
now she's being
yeah, yeah,
considered
yeah,
a victim,
yeah, yeah,
chaos.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what's
I
crazy
get you.
about
I get
this.
you.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what's crazy about the situation. She's being considered a victim when she's part of the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Mm-hmm.
This shit's disgusting, man.
And it's
This
just
shit,
wild, bro.
this shit is
It
absolutely
kills me.
disgusting. She should be going to jail with him.
But you know how the society goes, Jay Shine. They need the mothers to keep popping out the babies and put them under the care because they know they're going to consume more in society. That's
Mhm.
why they let these women do what they do because they're the ones that's going to keep throwing money back into the system. So it
Yeah.
makes sense to take the father out of the picture because now the father's there. There's not so much abrasion of consumerism. It can't is in control, unfortunately.
Right.
And they already know saying you want more money, you have to sell women fluff. You got to tell them lies. You got to cater to their feelings. You got to tell them they're all angels, they're perfect, they're goddess, not princess, but goddess, and all this weird stuff, bro. And even go as far as say if you have children, he'll just pay child support and just keep just watch the children, And if something happens, we got you. The only time that the system really comes in is when there's possibly a death, and even the death is not assurance that they're gonna lock the women up on the average.
This shit's crazy, man. The fact they even gave him a plea deal was insane to me.
And here's the funny thing about the plea deal, from what I'm hearing, this is what I heard, that after he does his time in jail, that he might not be able to put himself in the sex registration. You know how you had to sign yourself and that's
Right.
what the word is. So one thing, if you heard early in the stream, and I had to replay like roughly 2 or 3 times, is Michael Noack, aka Brother Polight, did not want his course session be aired on YouTube. Do you know that?
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I thought it wasn't being aired because it was dealing with, lewd acts to a minor. That's what I thought.
No, he didn't want it because listen, let me show you this. Could you just tune in? Let me show you what he did the day before his plea sentence the next day. Watch this. Look good.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that on his Instagram.
Now tell me this. Why would you not want the whole world to know this aired on YouTube, the biggest platform right now out here now, where you're court sentencing your plea deal? Because most people are cult watchers. They're followers, Jay Shine.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to say something, one thing, and then in reality is something else. Because people are not paying attention to detail. They're glamorized. They're so attracted. They're so, they're so hypnotized to what he's saying, his bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But behind closed doors, no one really know that he actually was. And if they really Google it, was charged with and plead guilty to molestation of a minor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I tell you what,
Yeah.
we can take it a step further. Chaos. Since you bring that video up,
Okay.
think about it. For the last 2.5 years since he's been accused of this, look at all the women that's still hanging around him.
Oh, I didn't want to get into that, bro. I didn't want to get into that.
Why not? Why not? Let's get into the
No,
water.
and the reason why, because the reason why, no,
let's get into the water, Chaos.
Because the reason we will go on it, and the reason why I said, but we're gonna go into it anyway because I'm talking about this anyway, is because women knew what this sick bastard's doing, and they stayed around.
Yeah, they're still around. You know what I mean? And they got their face, they on video. You can't even hide this shit. You can just go through his Instagram for the last 2 years and see that these women don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
This is a little girl that's been accused. There's been an accusation of a little girl. I'm not gonna go through the lewd stuff that we, what I mean? We know what we heard it, right? With supposedly what happened. You know what I mean? And they're still around. Yeah. And it's gonna be no accountability on any level from. I'm talking about multiple women. These are lots of women.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah.
But a man is supposed to lose his job just off the accusation of having a sexual joke on the job. You see what I'm saying? This is what I call insanity.
Insane to the highest degree.
Yeah, you're supposed to lose your job because you asked the woman out.
Makes no
but
sense.
These women could be around and help a predator, because that's part of the shine, right? Part of his thing is showing off, his quote unquote success. That's part of the scam, right? And what's part of the success? Cars, jewelry, women. So they're part of his scam of sorts. They want to be part of the shine. And he has X amount of followers. Oh, yeah. I'm with him. I'm hanging with him. Yeah, I'm going to twerk up on him. Hell, I might even fuck him. You know what I'm saying? But they don't care about, nobody's thinking about this little girl.
Yeah.
These are women.
I know.
These are not men that's enabling him. These are women that's enabling them. So we can say, all right, fine. We don't know what happened that night. We don't know what happened up to that point. But what about after the allegations? What about after the charges? You see what I'm saying? This is sick shit that's going on in our society that we can't touch. And then if we talk about it, we trying to blame the women and not trying to blame him. No. He's being held accountable.
Exactly.
He's being held accountable. Just like most male predators are held accountable. You fucking idiot. That's a bullshit argument. Once the men are caught, they're being held accountable. R. Kelly's in jail.
Exactly. Yeah.
The fuck, man? I'm talking about who else is part of this, man. Children just don't get with it. You know what I mean? With it, you don't just get access to children like this.
No.
I raised a child. You just can't have access to my child like that. It's not possible.
Are you there, Big Kev?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, good. I continue, Jay Sean. One double check, mic check.
No, I'm good, man. What's up, Kev?
Yeah.
What's up, Jay Sean?
Before you say some, Kev, let me say this to add on. See, Jay Sean, when it comes to criminality or anything that's going on that involves children or just any nature of criminality, the first thing that comes to the society's mind is, where is the man? They not always think about who are the culprits that let this person get in to get access. Because if that was the case, how far you think the society would be much more improved? That means women going to be on the guard. They can't slip up and do stupid stuff, because if anything they do, they will be liable and accountable to the full extent of the law.
Right.
But because society does not focus on, they only focus on the man, now you give more leeway to the actual culprit that helped the predator come in.
Yeah. And we all seen the situations where women defend the man, right? We've seen those videos too of women calling their daughters liars. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I said, man.
Or even a few situations. Or even a few situations where they'll actually coach their children to make false accusations. You also have to worry about that as well.
That's another wrinkle. Yeah, that's another wrinkle. But I'm just saying, like, Kev, these judges could shut this shit down. by it's kind of like let's take it off this right now, because this becomes a heated topic for me, you know, because I don't play with children. When it comes to children, I don't play with that. You know what I mean? This shit is vexing me, you know, because I'm a single father. I've raised my daughter since she was 1 year old. She's now 20 years old. You understand? You just didn't have access to my daughter without me saying so. The only time my daughter was compromised or could be compromised is when she was with her mother.
Exactly. That was
That's
the only
other time. When she was under me, you just couldn't have access. Who the fuck is? I mean, you take my daughter to a room for what? At night, it's 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. What am my daughter doing in a hotel with some dude? For what? It wouldn't make sense for my daughter to be having a conversation with a woman that's not her mother 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. And you know, you're gonna get a lot of flank, but they understand that you're a protector first. If you,
I mean,
it
doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense, Cass. This shit is crazy to me, and it's happening. And the reason why I'm so hot about this is because it's happening right now as we talk. Somewhere in America right now, there's some fucking bitch's boyfriend doing something to children that are not his, and nothing's going to happen to her.
Yeah.
If he's ever held accountable, and that's the thing that Kev was just talking about, you know, too. If he's held accountable, but if there's time to lie on the father, the mothers don't get in trouble for that neither. When it's time to practice nation, to coach a child, to say that they, you know, that their father did something to him, and then we find out it didn't happen. You see what I'm saying? That's also another situation. Like I said, it's another wrinkle. This situation comes through the mothers, man. And I know women don't want to hear that, but I don't give a fuck what you don't want to hear. I don't care. I'm a single dad. You can't run this game on me.
Exactly.
I don't want to hear that single parent shit. Anything that happened to my daughter by a woman that I brought into the house, it's my fucking fault, Chaos.
Exactly. They're gonna blame you first. You know?
Well, they blame me and not, Chaos. It's still my fault, and I know it because I brought her around. You understand me? I put my daughter in this situation. And this wasn't even a real relationship. This was some whole shit that she was in. You understand? This wasn't her man like that. This wasn't her new husband. This was some nigga that had a bunch of women around him. She was just there to party. Chaos. Why you got your daughter involved with a nigga you partying with?
Exactly.
This is insane.
Hey, and I think even Dr. T talked about a situation where like some of these women were, in a few examples, you have some of these women that would even offer up their daughters like sexually to like the man that they're with, you know, as a way of like trying to guilt him into not leaving and stuff. So I think Dr. T actually made a video about that.
Hey, I was telling the guys earlier, Kev, right before you came on, there's I want you to check this out. I want all y'all to check this out, Kev. As a matter of fact, y'all go watch that interview with Kelly Price on Vlad TV. And she talks about how the women dress like their daughters. They dressed alike and everything with sexy outfits on backstage with their daughters, giving their daughters up. See, the thing is, mama wants to party too. And if her daughter could get her backstage or her daughter can get her to the after party, so be it. You know, and then of course there's that component, that rags to riches shit you was talking about too, Chaos. But a lot of this shit is just nasty, dysfunctional, trifling shit that's going on that's not being called out. And the men are being held accountable. They're going to jail. So this is not an issue about accountability. Or it is actually an issue of non-accountability. And that's the parent that's given access to these children.
Or even think of like if you want to look at the most prominent example of that is look at DJ Kid. You know, that like I'm like there's no way you can tell me that this guy by himself was able to spread HIV or whatnot to like 600 different so-called black women in South Carolina without a lot of these women, you know, getting their getting their daughters involved and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way he did it by himself. He had help, you know, or that, or even when people want to talk shit about R. Kelly, it's like, bro, he had help. He had help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but they don't want to talk about that side of the game, is because it kind of destroys the narrative that, you know, they want to present this narrative that, you know, these women shit doesn't stink. And it's like, but your shit stinks. All right. And even if people have talked about it, I'm like, most child abuse happens under the tutelage of the mom, and people, as we keep seeing, in just like in the Brother Polight situation, all right, people that are sexually abusive towards children target children raised by single moms disproportionately, you know, precisely because they see either the children as a vulnerable, or because that they sense that the mom is apathetic, you know. So because they know,
Actually, it's worse than that, Kev. They see a woman that they know is irresponsible.
Yep.
They see, and you know, I'm glad you brought the DJ situation up with the white boy. I did a video about that when that happened, and it's my most watched video. I got thousands of views on that video, hundreds of comments in the comment section. A lot of racist dudes came in the comment section too, and I left it alone. I stayed out of the comment section, just let the shit thrive. It's kind of like it lives on this. That video is like, even though it's on my channel, it's like its own organism, its own life. You know what I mean? It took on its own life. It got thousands of views. It's still up, and there's lots of comments on it. And you know, and I touched 3 areas in that video. I touched on the white criminality that's overlooked by the system.
Yep.
Then I talked about how the women, you know, create their daughters into these fast ass girls and turn their daughters into whores and not protecting their daughters. And then I also talked about the men, because in that situation, the brothers in that community, Kev, if me and you was to come through that community, right, and go to those clubs and hang out, they would like, who this nigga, right? You know, they wouldn't just let us run through their community like that. But those brothers in that community, let some white boy put their uniform on and run around their community, you know what I mean, unabated. And I used a real fucked up analogy, but it's a good one. I said, if you think about the men of Afghanistan, right? they hate women. They throw acid in the chicks, their daughter's face, all kind of shit. They just abuse women altogether. But guess what? You can't touch them.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You can't touch them. So I'm not sitting here saying you protect these whores. I'm just saying, like, as men, you don't just let foreign people run rampant in your community either. You know what I mean? You can't. Back in the day, the early 90s and 80s, no white boy could come in the black community with his hat turned backwards and just run through the fuck. Who's him? We'd be all in his pockets. Come here, white folk. Let me see what you
Well,
got.
I think what it is, again, and again, it talked about this thing. You know what I mean? It's like, where a lot of brothers have this sense of like guilt.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like they think, how can I put this? A lot of dudes that like work regular jobs and whatnot, they genuinely think deep down it's their fault that a lot of this shit is fucked up, not realizing that if we were listening and taking advice from a lot of so-called black people that were sensible, productive, responsible, etc., a lot of this pathology that we see would be, it wouldn't go away, but it would be like reduced to like a very manageable level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't seem so out of control. That's part of the reason why I think why it makes a lot of dudes uncomfortable, because it offends a lot of dudes' egos to know that no, just because you're physically, stronger and whatnot doesn't make you impervious. Like you're not Superman, or you don't know everything. You have a lot of blind spots. And I think a lot of brothers just don't want to admit that they have blind spots. Or that that they're basically kind of green to a lot of the bullshit that's going on in society.
I'm not. I'm holding it. When it comes to children, we should be holding everybody accountable. Everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
This
I
whole
agree.
this narrative that men are the predators and shit. No, Kev, and Chaos. We have women who prey on criminals. We have women who prey on predators.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They know this dude ain't shit. They know this guy is a fucking scam artist. They know this guy's a piece of shit. They know this guy's an asshole. They know it, and they still gravitate to it. You know what I mean? And then not only that, they gravitate to it, they fucking bring their children around these people. You know what I mean? Or these dudes. You know what I mean? And they do it for their own selfish reasons. What was the purpose of being around Polight? She wasn't, his main girl. They wasn't building a life together. What was she there for? She was there for VIP. She was there for Red Bottom. She was there for the Instagram.
Exactly. Exactly.
That was the only reason why she was around him. And because she was around for that, this happened to her daughter. That fucking impact statement that I just heard was disgusting.
Yeah. But you see, Jay Shine, this is why I cannot fault a lot of dudes how the way they feel, because there has to be a different narrative, and men have to speak up to certain things, regardless if women don't like it or not. That to know that this reality that we're sitting and we live in it and we're watching, that is bullshit to the point where, that ladies, you can't keep playing this victim card. We see you. Some of us, we been around them. And hell, some of us, we hear stories about it. This is not something that is words out no more. This is actual reality. Yeah. I've seen those pictures, and even I think he says picture of the girl that he was messing with still on his page. And I look at her, and yeah, she's like in her 30s, and all I see was dressed up nicely, smiling, red bombs, which he paid out of his pocket. I'm saying, sweetie, if this man didn't have no status and money, you would not be so comfortable being around him, much as have your children be around him. Personally, I mean, let's keep it real. The reason why you deal with Polight is because he could give you a lifestyle, and women today are living on a lifestyle. That's it. You can't subsidize this hot girl, this high consumerism. You're screwed out here as a man.
And you know what's crazy, Chaos? You seen her, right? You seen her. You telling me she can't bag a doctor?
Exactly.
She can't bag a
bag somebody of that's doing some productive at least. You get me?
Exactly.
And make a life.
Let me finish the list. You telling me she can't bag an engineer? She can't bag. I'm in government. She can't bag a GS-14, GS-15 nigga. White or black?
You want me to give you a real honest opinion, Deshaun? When I see these pictures of light women that split these type of dudes like a Polight, I look at the outcomes and I'm saying, if you're with him, baby, and he's for a fun time, that's where you're at. You're a fun person. You don't qualify for men that's doing on their shit. Exactly. And that's just the honest truth. You don't qualify. And let me repeat this. You are not qualified for men that's on their shit. And that's just the honest truth. And I remember the guy, I'm not mentioning name. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
I agree with that. That's not the point, though. I agree with what you're saying. You're talking about on some marriage shit. She might not qualify. She might be a piece of shit. She might not even cook for all I know. I don't know. My point is, because we know of the sympidemic that we're in, you telling me she couldn't bag?
Okay, now you have a different conversation. Yes, she could probably get one of them.
Yeah, she could. I'm saying what she couldn't have done, right?
Yeah,
she could bag a guy that's driving a truck. She could bag a guy that owns a car dealership.
Yes.
She wanted to be with this type of shit, right? And she brought a fucking kid around bullshit. All right, it's no different if she was dating a crazy rapper who got a bunch of hoes. She just wanted, that was about what she wanted in life. It was about the lifestyle she wanted to live, and she dragged the fucking kid into it.
You're right.
And then some foul shit happened to her kid. It's no different to me. This is no different than if, say, for instance, she was hanging out with a D-boy because she wanted that lifestyle chaos, right? And then they were driving in the car together, and the fucking car got shot, and her daughter got shot. What was the fucking daughter doing in a D-boy's car? Oh, because they were going to the mall to go shopping. Oh, because she wanted to be on the block with him. Oh, she wanted to stun on other hoes. You see what I'm saying? This comes back to her.
Yeah.
And it's not being held accountable. I'm saying I hold 3 people responsible for this situation. I hold her responsible first. I hold the predator responsible second. And I hold the court system third. Because they're not holding these people accountable. Look, I said this earlier, Kevin. I'm going to say it again. scam artists, grapists, murderers, psychos. That's been part of our human condition since the beginning of humanity. This is not new to, you know what I mean? This is not some thing that's happened in American society. It exists over here in Europe where I live. It exists in the Middle East. That's why the Middle East have laws of cutting motherfuckers' genitals off, right? If they do something they ain't got no business doing. Cutting your hands off if you steal, because that's a part of the human condition. So what are you doing to protect your children? Mama?
Yeah, yeah, man, yeah, and like you said, you're right in the sense of like, how can I put it? Just like these ideas of, I mean, I can't speak on like, if it's always been in the bad way, but I can say there's been like that for a long time, and yeah, like how could I put it like this? Like, there were systems in place because again, it's a way of setting boundaries. It's a
Yeah.
way of setting boundaries because it prevents a lot of unnecessary pain and suffering. And when you reject those boundaries because you want to air quotes be free to do whatever you want, you can't then turn around and play the victim talking about some OMG, why is this happening to me, or you know what I mean? Because like what you're saying, Jay Sean, again, it's one thing if you're a single woman doing this, all right? If you're just
Yeah.
single, if you're by yourself, you know what I mean? That's fine. Like, to me, I just think that, society just be better off just, if someone want to get involved with sex work and stuff like that, go ahead and do it. But it's another thing entirely to, like you said, drag your children into this mess because you want to live a fast lifestyle. To me, that's out of bounds. To me, that's
It
like,
is out of bounds.
no. You know what I mean? It's like leave the
It's
children
way
out
out
of
of
this.
bounds. It's way out of bounds,
Exactly.
man.
Way
Look,
out of bounds.
I used to be a club. I used to be a club promoter in a previous life in DC. I've seen a lot of shit, Kev. All right, I've seen a lot of shit, and I'm not gonna go into everything that I've seen. All right, but I remember, and I'm not proud to even talk about this. You know what I mean? Like, we would deal with single mothers, in the scene. There's some women are still fine as hell, and I just seen up close. And that's why this is a hot issue for me, especially being a single father who had custody. And I had to deal with my baby's mother and her bullshit and what she did one time with my daughter, which I just told you about earlier, Chaos.
Yeah.
And yeah, Kev, you wanted to go back in here when I told that story. And I had, and I flipped the fuck out when, my daughter put my mother's daughter put my daughter in a compromising position for one of the most dumbest reasons ever. It's just irresponsibility. So when you talk about men being predators, okay, I agree. We have a lot of bad dudes running around here. My problem is, why are you not doing everything in your fucking power to protect them? You can't have it both ways. You can't say on one hand, you got a bunch of dudes out here who are violent, a bunch of dudes out here who are rapists, a bunch of dudes out here who are predators, and then you just give access to your to your children. That makes no sense to me. You can never explain that to me. And I'm telling you right now, if anything ever happened to my daughter while I raised her, my daughter, like I said, I raised her from 1.5 years old to she's 20. She just turned 20 last month. And she's still down the hall from me. If anybody had access to my daughter, it's because I allowed it. You don't just get access to children. It doesn't happen that way. And everybody skips past that because they want to defend women. Fuck that. Children come before that. We all adults. Men are adults, women are adults. When it comes to children, all that bullshit goes aside. I don't care about no gender war. I don't care about none of that shit. Everybody gets investigated. Everybody gets questioned. And that's not what's happening. And what's unfortunate about this situation is that two things happen. First of all, he should never be given a fucking plea deal. If this is DNA involved, he should get fucking 60 years. So I don't know what the terms of the plea deal is. I don't know what really happened. Now I want to investigate. Why did fucking he only get 7 years? But putting that aside, these fucking judges know that when case after case, these judges see more of this shit than we do. They see abused children all the time in their courtrooms, these cases. And socially and society-wise, they're not doing their job to protect these fucking kids because they're not holding women accountable. I say the same thing about women who led with drug dealers. They Codys as far as I'm concerned. These motherfuckers running around here selling drugs, getting women strung out on drugs. All right, so if you want to make it a sex thing, that's fine. Let's keep it sexist. Let's talk about all the women drug addicts, the single mothers who are strung out. So your boyfriend, the one that's getting you red bottoms and got you in nice cars, is out here getting other women sick. But there's no punishment for them, that as they get to enjoy the fruits of the criminality. There was no fucking reason in the world that this young girl should have been around Polight in the first place, period. There was no legitimate relationship. There was no real relationship. It was all about shining and partaking in some riches of a scam artist. And this shit happened. And I feel sorry for this girl. The only fucking victim is this little girl, period. And I don't give a fuck what nobody got to say about it.
All right, Jay Shine. I'm gonna move the mic. I have new guests. Amiri, you there? Hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Well, as you know, I discovered the conscious hustler of Brother Polight, so I'm gonna go back to what was played earlier in the stream. But in regards to the context, matter of fact, what's your views on Brother Polight? If you heard about the brother, Amiri, before we can start from there.
The typical black Negro male bandit, just full of shit. You know what I mean? I like Jay Shine. I got a lot of respect for Jay Shine, but I vehemently disagree with his views on this. I think at the end of the day that
I can hardly hear you, Mary. Speak up, boss. Get close to your mic.
Okay, hold on. Let me redo my mic and I'm gonna come back. Hold on, y'all.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, he's coming in low. Is that just me?
No, yeah, he's gonna fix it.
Okay.
Yeah, you just gotta adjust the volume here.
Yeah. All right. Make sure you guys like the stream, share the stream. For short, well, not recap, but to let everybody know, when you go back to playback of this, guys, you will hear the full thing at the highest point. I raised the volume to a point where you can hear the actual proceedings of Polight's agreement to plead to the judge. And to people in the background, I think the lawyer is saying, even to the point with Polight's people, where they say, why is this being recorded on YouTube? And like I said, a judge that has no control over Zoom to really kick out people or stop certain things, because he is a judge and everybody is welcome to participate into the courtroom. So he has no restrictions, And regardless what his views of it being put out in the public, it lets you know you're living a double life. You're trying to keep this persona going. And let's be honest, once you're in jail, you're in jail. There's no way in hell you can get around, still go around and still do what you do behind bars. So people are going to eventually know, eventually. That's how it works. All right, Mary's back. Let me see if this mic's working now. Is mic working now? Let me see.
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Much better.
Yeah, much better.
Okay. No, I was just saying, and my thoughts on Polight is he's just a typical black Negro male bandit. With that being said, I like Jay Shine. I got a lot of respect for my brother Jay Shine, but I vehemently disagree with his views on this. I think at the end of the day, predators are the ones who need to be policed. Period. Predators are the ones who need to be policed. Because look, I haven't seen anyone make those arguments when we look at an institution like the Catholic Church. The fact is that predators are going to put themselves in situations where they can have access to children or access to victims. It's not like they're walking around with a scarlet letter on talking about, I'm a predator. You know what I mean? They're going to put themselves in situations and in places where they can victimize people. You see what I'm saying?
Mary, but that's where you're wrong on this situation, brother.
How am I wrong?
He didn't put himself in this girl's life. This woman put this girl in his life.
Oh, so he did. What I'm saying is, him and this woman had a relationship, right?
No. He had many women, and this wasn't a real relationship, Mary. Let's not do that.
What you mean it wasn't a real relationship? Were they dealing or not?
Dealing, fucking bitches is not a relationship, Mary. Let's not play games, though.
No. So what you're telling me is, because from what I understand, it's not like it was a one night stand. It's not like this is this is supposed to be one of his wives or something, right?
It's not one of his wives. That's what I'm saying. That's not play games. You don't have a bunch of wives.
No, listen at what I'm saying. Listen at what I'm saying. from Polight's perspective and that community's perspective, was that one of his wives?
No. It was one of his hoes.
Okay, so he was running around telling everybody.
It doesn't matter what his perspective is.
It does matter. It does matter. Yes, it does. What you're doing, brother? No, what you're doing, Jay Sean, what you're doing.
Mary, I'm a single father with custody of my daughter. I raised my daughter, all right? You can't run this shit on me, all right? You don't have access to my daughter unless I allow it, all right? And the fact that we care more about protecting women than protecting children is disgusting to me. This keeps happening over and over again. So it ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm practical. People who are in mating range are going to date and are going to mate, whether they got a child or not. So the real argument what you're making is that once this woman has a child, she shouldn't entertain no other man because the man might be a predator. That's not realistic, bro. That's not realistic. It is realistic, Mary.
No, it's not.
What you're doing is you're dismissing me right now, Mary. You're dismissing me right now. I'm gonna tell you what the difference between Jay Sean and any other man in the space. It's hard to argue with me about this because I just told you dismissed my experience. My daughter's 20 years old. I had her since she was 1 year, 4 months old. And Mary, you think I ain't got pussy or had any other relationships since my daughter was born? I'm still responsible for who I put my daughter around, Amiri. If anything happens to my daughter and I bring a woman in this house and a woman abuses my daughter or say a woman kills my daughter, I brung that around my fucking kid, Amiri. I'm accountable for that. This ain't about what fucking women gets to do in her life. This is about responsibility to children, which comes before my pleasure. My responsibility for my daughter is divine. It comes before my pleasure. In fact, Amiri, I had rules because I was raised by an irresponsible single mother.
You're making a lot of assumptions about this woman.
Mary, I'm talking about
yes, you are. You're making a lot of brother. You're making a lot of assumptions about the only way your argument could stand with that you're making is
if the fact that you cut me off and let me fucking finish telling my story.
Go ahead. I just listened to your story before I came onto the panel, brother. I just listened to your story. No. Go ahead.
I understand that, brother. Now, let's not do that though. But you point out something that I'm trying to respond to right now in real time. All right. I'm trying to respond to something in real time in a real way because I have the credibility a lot of brothers don't have. All right. Not saying that brothers are wrong. I'm saying I have more credibility on this because I am a single mother. I'm a father, excuse me. So when it comes to single parenting, a woman can't come at me sideways because I did it. I understand the sacrifice that women make being a single mother. I get the loneliness. I get all of that, but all that pales in comparison to our responsibility to our children. If something happens to my daughter, I don't get to play victim, Amiri. I'm responsible for people who have access to my daughter. And what I was about to say is, because I was a child of a irresponsible single mother who I've reconciled with, I had rules. When I was dating a female, when my daughter was 5 years old, that I had to drop my daughter from school every day and daycare every day. When I was dating a chick named Angela, she couldn't come to my house till after 9 o'clock, after my daughter was asleep, and she had to leave before my daughter was born. I didn't want women coming in and out of my house. I didn't want my daughter seeing that. I had strict rules, Amiri. I had rules about who babysitted my daughter, who did her hair. This is a woman that's partying with Polight. They're not living in some house having a traditional family, whatever the case might be. But even in that situation, she's still responsible for the men that she brings.
So let me ask you a question.
That is not his daughter.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you think she let him take her daughter? Why do you think she did that?
For her own selfish reasons. Let me ask you this.
So you don't think it was, well, hold on real quick. You don't think it was because she trusted Polight?
It doesn't matter what she trusted or not.
You don't think, well, it does matter. You don't think he presented himself as a trustworthy person?
It doesn't matter what he presented himself as.
So this is it. It doesn't matter. No, predators are to be police, brother. No, like you wouldn't make those arguments real quick. You wouldn't make those arguments, brother. You would not make those arguments, brother. Brother, you would not make those. Brother, you would not make those arguments.
I'm not making no assumptions, Amiri. What time did that happen, Mary? Where did it
Jay
happen?
Shine,
What time did it
what,
happen?
Jay Shine, let me ask you a question. Would you make this argument to all the boys and their families that was abused by the Boy Scouts or the Catholic Church? Would you make this
Goddamn right.
argument you're making now? No, you wouldn't. No,
Yes, I
you wouldn't,
would.
because what you're
Yes, I
doing, you're
would.
deploying a respectability politic, brother. It's about the predators. The predators are going to put themselves where they can prey on somebody,
And
period.
guess what, Mary? The predators are being held accountable. Now, my question to you is this. What time did this happen? And where did it happen, Mary?
It happened, from what I understand, it happened in a hotel room, and it was, I don't know, what was the time?
Come on, Mary, you know what time it was. Don't play with me.
No, I what? What was the time? What was
Mary,
the time?
you've done live streams on this, Mary. Come on, stop, brother.
What was the time, Jay Sean? What was the time? Because it still will come back to the same thing. I know it was at night, but it still will come back to the same thing. You don't think? So wait a minute. You don't think that?
To her own impact statement, I gave you my daughter so you can talk to her because I trusted you.
Okay, then. So how you gonna blame her for trusting? How you gonna, brother? How you gonna blame,
Mary,
brother?
I would let my daughter go to a hotel room to talk to a woman late at night for what? It makes no sense. It makes zero sense. Just like I wouldn't let my fucking daughter keep going to a studio way outside of town. My teenage kid. I told these brothers on this panel, and I'm gonna tell you the same thing. Go listen to Kelly Price, a black woman's interview on this, and what she saw going on backstage with mothers bringing their teenage daughters backstage.
What does it have to do with Polight?
Oh my God, it has a lot to do with Polight.
No, it doesn't. See what you're doing, brother. No, what you're doing again. What you're doing. This is what you're doing. You instead of looking at each individual situation for what it is, yes, it is. That's totally different. You're talking about R. Kelly and shit, brother. No, you're talking about R. Kelly and shit. Look. At the end of the day, this ain't even got nothing to do about gender politics. You making it a gender politic thing. That's the first problem I have with it. Because let me tell you something. Do you think there's any single fathers whose daughter didn't become a victim? Is that what you think? You think there's any 2-parent households whose children didn't become a victim? Look, let's just keep it a buck. In this society, in civilization, there's a seamy undercurrent to this world where children are preyed upon, and that's not the fault of the parents. It's not the fault of the children. This is solely on the shoulders of the predators. We got to be honest.
Amiri,
Go ahead.
That's not. I get what you're saying, and what you're saying is right to a certain extent. I just sat here earlier and said this twice. So if you say he was listening, that means you're dismissing what I'm saying. All right, brother, you're being disingenuous.
I'm not dismissing what you're saying at all.
I said this twice, Amiri. I said this twice.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna say it a third time. Grapists, scam artists, criminals of all stripes have been part of the human condition since the beginning of humanity. It's our responsibility as parents to protect our children. You can't sit here and qualify or even justify a girl being allowed to go to a room alone with a man in the middle of the night at a hotel while they party. You can't justify that shit. There's no explanation for that. That's not Boy Scout shit. That's not church shit. There's one thing to be portrayed by a church or institutional organization, but to tell me
how long was Polight in this? How long were Polight and this woman dealing, Jay Sean? How long were they dealing?
It doesn't matter. I don't give them.
It does matter.
5 months.
So you don't think so?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. It does fucking matter because you're not gonna tell me. You're not gonna tell me. You're not gonna tell me. No, I'm just realistic. You're not gonna tell me. You're not going to tell me that Polight wasn't sitting there playing the role like he's some guru. Now, can we have a conversation on people being gullible and people being naive and people being stupid? I talk about that all the time. But you're not going to tell me that this nigga wasn't sitting lying in wait, talking that black woman is God shit, talking that pro-black bullshit like niggas do. Sitting there portraying himself to be something while the whole time he lying in wait like some fucking predator. So at the end of the day, what I'm focused on, and listen, at the end of the day, I'm focused on the predator. It is not a crime for a woman to have a social life. It is not a crime for a woman to have a social life, and that's what I hear you saying.
Time out, Mary.
No, you didn't say anything about social life. We're talking about an underage girl being in a
wait. We can't. Let Jay Sean speak.
R. Kelly's in jail, Amiri. Polight has been fucking adjudicated. What are you concentrating on them for? They being held accountable. This is bullshit talk. Right now,
you think R. Kelly and Polight are the only black male predators running around? That what you think?
I'm not saying they're not.
Okay, then. This is about a specific community of predators that's in the black community who happen to be black men that we don't want to talk about.
First of all, because there's more predators in the white community than there's ever been in the black community. So stop that nonsense for one. Two, Amiri, I already said that.
That's bullshit what you just said. We don't see now we want to try if you will look at the white community. The only reason why white community have the numbers they have because they're majority of the population. But when you look at our community, it's disproportionate. It's overwhelmingly disproportionate. Overwhelmingly.
Okay. And then
here comes the track concept bullshit that Amiri's spitting per usual.
Then, brother. Then you're making my point for me then. Then shouldn't women be extra careful who they bring around these fucking children?
But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, Jay Shine. You don't know. This is what I'm saying. No. You don't. No. The only way. So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. See, do you feel like the woman is? You feel like the woman is a whore because she has a social life. Having a social life is not a crime. Period.
The social life ain't the problem. The social life is the problem.
You know, because what y'all doing. I'm gonna tell you what y'all doing. I'm gonna tell you what y'all doing. What y'all are doing are making y'all making assumptions. Let me ask you a question. How old was this young woman who became? How old? No, real quick. How old was this girl who became a victim to Polight?
14.
So what we know is this: is that for 14 years, this mother apparently was able to keep her daughter from being preyed upon, right?
We don't know
for
that.
14 years.
You were making assumptions. You're making assumptions. We don't know.
And you're making assumptions.
No, you're making assumptions.
Because I don't know that. And you're making assumptions. This is what I'm saying. You're making assumptions.
About assumptions.
Yep.
You're making assumptions.
No. I gave you my life.
Let me give my experience on this. I know that me being the type of man and father and husband I am does a lot to mitigate risks to my children. I've never been so naive as to think that it eliminates the risk to my children because I understand the world and the environment that I'm in. I've never got on some high horse and thought just because when it comes to being strict, I'm as strict as they come. I'm an old school father. I'm not with this new age traditional shit. I'm more traditional.
No, you're not.
I'm more traditional. I'm the most traditional man on this panel. What you talking about? I'm the most traditional man on YouTube. What you talking about? Yes, I am.
If you were traditional, you'd be a patriarch like me. You hold everybody underneath you accountable, including women. You don't do it. So you're not a traditional. You will hold women accountable. My grandmother was talking right now. My grandmother would sound worse than me because she's old school and traditional. My aunts, Icy and Gracie, who raised me, they would sound way worse than me. They will fuck this bitch up for doing what she did. Because that's how women used to be in the traditional world. Don't talk to me about tradition.
Brother, don't even try it, Jay Shine. Don't even try it. This whole thing with black women, this whole thing with children being victims in the black community go way back. This ain't some new guy got nothing to do with whorehouse culture or none of that. It's about the predators. It's about the predators that's in the community that we allow to run to run around. It's just like you mentioned. It's just like you mentioned the scamming. Now we can have if somebody gets scammed, I'm not gonna sit here and dump on them for getting scammed because at the end of the day, they're a victim. They're a victim for getting scammed. The person
1 o'clock at night in a hotel, nigga, you a bad parent. Period. I don't give a fuck what you say.
Okay, that may be very well and good, but to sit up here and act like this woman is wrong for trusting Polight because this nigga done presented himself as
I can do that as a father. I can do that. Yes, I can, nigga.
Okay, but so let me ask you a question. So let me ask you a question. Can you tell how can you 100% ensure that your child ain't gonna be a victim? It could be the person you trust. This is what I'm saying. It could.
Mary, I can
this predator.
My daughter go to somebody's fucking room at 1 o'clock in the morning.
No, see what? No. See what you keep trying to do. You keep trying to hang. You keep trying to hang your hat on what you feel like is a winning argument, but that's not going to win you. That's not going to win you the argument because, as I just said, you cannot show me, brother. You cannot, brother. You want to make this about gender. It ain't got nothing to do with gender. Why you sitting there talking about being a patriarch? No. You want to make it about, niggas want to make it about gender, but you can't, like, how? Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I threw that out the
yes,
window.
You are.
My own personal situation in there.
You making it about gender.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you are. Yes, you did, brother. You just not said. I'm defending women just merely solely because I'm saying I'm solely focused on. No, I'm solely focused on the predator.
The predator.
Period. I'm solely focused on the predator.
The predator's going to jail.
It's the reason why, y'all. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
No.
When you watch, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. I ain't asked it yet. Let me ask you a question. When you watch To Catch a Predator, why do you think it's overwhelmingly men? Why?
It's overwhelmingly men.
Yeah.
Because
why is it overwhelming?
They're only using girl specimens. They don't use boys.
Okay, but even when it has been no, because you got to go watch it. It's not a bad example because when you watch it, brother, you did answer it. You said because they're only using girl specimen, but that's not true. That's not true. That even when they use male targets, brother, you don't want to be honest.
And see a white teacher or a female teacher get in touch with a boy every day, and every fucking month we see a story about this. All right,
brother, you're not really trying to sit up here and make the Jay Shine. So you're showing that it's about gender with you. You're showing that it's about gender with you because you're not going to sit up here. No, you are. You're not going to sit up here and say. So you're really trying to. So Jay Shine, you're really trying to make the argument. You're really trying to make the argument. You're really going to try and make the argument. That it's a comparison.
You making an argument, nigga. I'm not making an argument. You asked me a legitimate question. I gave you a legitimate answer. You asked me.
The answer is incorrect because they use boys too.
Calm down.
The answer is incorrect because they use boys too. Have you watched it? You obviously haven't watched it.
Amiri. They use mostly 95%.
No, even when they use boys, it's nothing but men showing up. Why?
Amiri, I just told you why. They get
even when they use boys, even when they use boys, brother, even when they use boys, the people who show up are overwhelmingly men.
Exactly. They have a fake child, right? Talking to a man. They're not broadcasting anybody that's talking to women.
No, brother. The reason why it's overwhelmingly men is because men. This is typically a male. See, men did everything except when it comes to some fucked up shit. Now men don't want to have the monopoly on it. What I'm saying is this. No. Let me tell you what I'm saying. Let me show you what I'm saying.
You've been busted, brother.
I haven't.
Right now.
I haven't.
You're making an argument I never made.
Yes, your entire argument has been about gender. Yes, it has.
Live stream, Mary. 3 times I said this on live stream that rapists, predators, and scam artists and all types of criminals have been part of the human condition since the beginning of time. I'm not dismissing that.
Okay, now, real quick, right there, now. Right. With what that segment that you just mentioned has been over. No. Wait a minute. Now wait a minute. That overwhelming that little segment of the society that you just mentioned, the rapists, the predators, the criminals, have been overwhelmingly male.
Okay.
Overwhelmingly. Okay. So what I'm saying. So this is the point that I'm making. That if we're going to say that women are wrong for having a social life and entertaining men, then that means they shouldn't trust none of us.
Exactly.
So
Mary, let me ask you a question.
Okay, then.
Let me ask you a question, Mary, because since you're a traditionalist, right? Since you're a traditionalist, you telling me their social life, this partying, and this doing whatever they want to do comes before their children?
How do you know that? You're the one making that juxtaposition.
I'm asking
you're the one making the juxtaposition, though.
No, I'm asking you what you think, Mary. Stop the fucking being a lawyer.
That's a fault. That's your view. What you're trying to do. This is what you're trying to do. This is what
I didn't give a
this
view.
is what you're trying to do. I reject the question. It's not a legitimate question.
It's a legitimate question. You say
no, it's not. It's a loaded question. Because you act as if no, brother. What you're doing is you're making it seem like a woman can't have a social life and be a good parent too. If they do it, if people do it all the time,
so mama can have fun too.
If people could, the only way I could accept your argument on this Polight issue is if she had been knowing Polight maybe a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month. But from what I understand, this was an ongoing, long drawn out relationship, and he was sitting up there pretending to be some guru, and he took the girl because he was going to mentor her and talk to her and all this bullshit.
It's all women a retard argument. That's what you're making right now.
That's not what I'm making. What I'm saying is this nigga presented himself to be trustworthy.
I don't give a fuck how he presented himself. You just told me.
Yeah, because you want to blame the victim. That's why.
You just told me a minute ago that the majority of predators out here are men.
They are.
Okay, so why women are not taking precautions to protect their children? This is a simple question.
But how you know they aren't? This is what I'm telling you, brother. How do you know they aren't?
I don't see no scenario if my daughter's been around a man even 5 years, or one female 5 years. I'm still not trusting nobody with my daughter like that. That's just the way it goes.
That's you, brother.
Right.
That's your choice.
Of my child. It's got nothing to do with
That's your choice.
And I know a
bunch and what I'm saying, and this is what I'm saying, and this is what I'm saying, and this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: you can have that view, and you can be like that, and your child can still end up being a predator. I mean, can still end up being preyed on because these motherfuckers everywhere. They're everywhere. They're in the school system. They in your social organization. They in the church. They in your inner circle. It's people you've been on the panel with, Jay Shine, who will prey on the child, and you don't know that. So that these motherfuckers everywhere. So as far as I'm concerned, it's about the predator.
I got you.
Period.
The predator's being held accountable. Now, when it comes to accountability, when a child's been injured, usually in every other scenario in our culture, in our society, everybody that's around that child is held accountable. For instance, there was a baby that just died the other day in a car from a daycare center had the kid in the car, not the parent. So now all the women were on TV talking about the mothers and some of the fathers talking about how everybody at that daycare should go to jail. They should lose their license immediately. They should be closed down immediately. They want maximum accountability for what happened to that baby. They don't give a fuck how many people go to jail for it. We got people going to jail for one brick right now. Not one person, anybody involved. But see, now when it comes to children being molested, we don't want everybody involved. We just want the predator. We just want the actual predator. But not everybody else that made it come about. Not everybody that made it possible. Not about these women. That's what I told you, go watch. Like, if you really wanted to have this argument, if you was really having it in good faith, you go watch that interview by Kelly Price. That's a black woman telling you what she saw with her own eyes. But we don't care about that.
That's a totally different scenario.
It's not a different scenario.
Yes, it is.
It's dealing. No. Scenarios. If you want to sit here and talk about different predators, Amiri, we can talk about all kinds of different scenarios. And this is when we start getting into arguments for predators, right? You know what I mean? You got crazy people out here who make arguments for pedophiles. Because they bring up different scenarios. We're not dealing with scenarios. We're dealing with society in general and behavior patterns. And when I look at behavior patterns, kids cannot have access to them unless parents give it. Period. End of. And to use Boy Scouts or churches, so
how do you explain?
Come on, man.
Let me ask you a question. How do you explain the situations where the parent is the predator? How do you explain that?
I don't.
That happens too. So it's about the predator, right?
Too, but guess what?
It's about the predator, right?
Exactly.
Okay then. They're like, okay then.
There's only one parent in this situation. That's her. Okay.
Say that again.
No, Mary, you gotta be honest about this. That wasn't her stepfather. That wasn't her husband.
That's not the point. That's not
that
the
is the fucking point.
No, it's not.
This wasn't
okay, Jason. So if your worldview is the view, right, and you're correct, how do you explain the parent who's the predator? Explain it. Whose fault is it then?
Got a woman out here partying, got her daughter out here.
See how you deflecting?
No, not deflecting.
You're deflecting from the question. Yes, you are.
That's not deflection.
All right.
Now
okay. Yes, you are, man.
Specific scenario. Right? Let's go back to
every argument that Mary Brown makes is literally some deviation of, if we just shift 100% of if we hold so-called black men in America 100% accountable for all the ills of American society and hold the women 0% accountable, we would have a better community. That's every
Kevin.
So you do it about them that triggered simply because real quick.
I gotta respond to this. Kevin, as much as you stood Mary never said 100% there's all the black men of the fault skills aside permanent.
I didn't say that. I'm saying is that I didn't say that he said that directly. I said it's some iteration of, because notice how
I'm gonna let Mary
we were talking about. Notice how when we were talking about how Brother Polight is a piece of shit and how he needs to be held accountable and how he needs to have the book thrown at him. It was no argument. There was no argument there. Nobody made an argument against that. But as soon as he made the argument that the mom needs to be held accountable for child endangerment, just because, just off the strengths that she's a woman, here comes a Mary Brown.
It ain't got nothing to do about nobody being a woman. Y'all on that gender bullshit. It don't have nothing to do with about. It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do about the parent. If the situation was reversed and it was a father and he somehow let Polight, I would be saying let me finish. I would be saying the same thing. What it is y'all on that gender bullshit because y'all what y'all want to do. What y'all want to do? Let me finish. Let me finish. I do, but let me finish. Let me finish.
Dismissing me, brother.
I'm not dismissing you.
Yes, you
what y'all doing? Y'all deploying respectability politics. So I'm gonna ask you a question.
That's what you're doing.
How do you explain who this guy named? Well, hold on, real quick. The guy with the K icon. How do you explain the situations which are good and plenty, where the parent is the predator? How do you explain that?
The parent.
Who's at fault then? Who you hold accountable then?
The parent's still at fault.
It's about the predator. It's about the predator.
Yes,
you sound
stupid.
It's about the predator. It's about the predator. It's always about the predator. Period.
No, it's not period. That's bullshit.
It's the parent.
Y'all trying to genderize this issue.
No, you're trying to do that.
No, Mary, you keep repeating yourself. That's all you're doing.
Yes, no, y'all doing that.
Mary, all you're doing is repeating
and y'all repeating yourself.
Y'all making about agenda.
And y'all repeating yourself.
Same thing. You're not letting nobody respond. All you're doing is repeating yourself right now.
Go ahead.
And that's beneath you. That's beneath you. Way smarter than this, Mary. I'm listening to you for years. You way smarter than this. This not period. You don't get to set the fucking bar, brother. I'm sorry. I just sat here and told you as a single father, if anything happened to my daughter, that's my responsibility. I'm holding myself accountable. So you can sit there and make this about gender all you want. This is about who has access to children. And I said earlier, if you listening, I said, unfortunately, in our community, that falls on the mother. That's just the circumstances.
So let me ask you a question. So if you send your child to school, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. If you send your child to school and or to a daycare, and then something happens to your child at daycare, we supposed to hold you accountable for picking the wrong daycare? That's what we're supposed to do? Make sense. If you feel like that's a logical view, make it make sense.
You're not even letting me answer. You asked the question and won't let me answer just now. You see what you just did? You see, you're trying to make your own points for me, which is disrespectful, Mary. All right, ask me the question and let me answer it as a single father. That's why I keep saying you're dismissing me. You're dismissing my 20 years of experience in this. Something that really I did. And I sat here a minute ago and said, that's why I understand where some women come from when they talk about the loneliness and the sacrifice. Because I know how it feels to be a single parent. But at the same fucking time, I can't hear no bullshit from a single mother either, because I know what accountability is. I'm responsible for my child. Let me tell you this, Mary. I'm going to say this right now on live on the air. I don't care how this is taken. If anything happened to my daughter, you can't threaten me with jail time. You understand me? You violate my daughter, nigga, the cops better get him before I do. I will sit down. You telling me there's fucking 4 walls in the ceiling and three hot meals every day? Fuck it. I go sit down. You can't threaten me with jail time. That's how seriously I take my responsibility as of my daughter. I'm not sending my daughter to nobody's room at no fucking 12 o'clock at night. And you still haven't explained that to me.
I did explain it. I said,
responsible.
I did explain it, and like I said, it's obvious, brother.
She was not in the
brother. So now you're gonna interrupt me now? I let you talk. I let you
I
talk.
didn't answer the question. I didn't ask the question.
I let you talk.
I didn't
So
ask
you
the question.
telling me? Say, look. So
Go
you
ahead.
so we already know why she did it. She said why she did it, and it's obvious why she did it. She
Oh yeah,
trusted
I'm
it.
just gonna believe a hoe. I got you.
She trusts. See, you want to make it about her being a host, so you using
She was a hoe.
respectability politics.
She
It
was a
don't
hoe.
matter if she was. It don't matter if she was or not. That
She
ain't
was
got
a
nothing to do with this.
She was a
That
hoe.
ain't got nothing to do
You're
with this.
Mr. Ridiculous, but
What you're doing.
You're not gonna call out the behavior.
What you're doing. What you're doing. You're deploying respectability politics. It ain't got nothing to do with
I'm not
that.
no respectability politics. I don't
Yes,
do
you are.
I do reality, Mary. I'm not in your
All right,
world.
guys.
All right, so
Mary, you're
what I
part
wanted
of
to
the
say
hold
was
on.
the fact that
All right. I got somebody else on the panel. Who's Hard Talk Radio? What's good,
yeah.
man?
What's up? So
That's
let
good.
me give you a.
Did you hear the stream from a certain period? Cause I could probably give you a recap maybe.
Oh, I
don't know.
just got on. I just got on. I
will say this. When the stream does finish, go back to the beginning. There's a clear live version of the trial, like what's being played that is not clear enough. Listen to it from the beginning to end. But what you want to add on to the conversation?
Well, I like to talk off with a scenario that was on the news a few years ago. There was this woman who was a single mom, and she was a Navy veteran, right? And she ended up getting with this dude, and she had a 10-year-old son. She ended up getting with this dude, and he was basically below her status. And they had an argument about paying rent. He couldn't help pay his rent, and she decides to delete her, the child, and himself. The reason why I'm saying this is the fact that this woman, okay, made a poor choice in mating options. Okay, a single mother. Okay, 90% of the time that child or children are with the mother. They are the first line of defense of protection against predators. Okay, this woman that was Polight's wife was in a polygamous relationship. Okay, there's something wrong with Polight. Okay, there's been rumors about him. There's been incidents. And she had to have known that this guy was not right, but she chose this guy. Okay. When I went on Facebook and I tried to talk to these women and tell them that this woman has to bear some responsibility for the fact that how this guy got into her life. This guy had red flags, more red flags than the Chinese Communist Party. And this is something that you see with black women online. When you mention this, their poor dating choices, they get really upset and they don't want to accept responsibility. They say, well, why don't you bring the predator? The predator's already locked up. He's facing 7 years plus 10 years probation. He's already going to be known in the prison yard as a chomo, a predator. But the reality is, if she had better, proper vetting skills, and if she had not been with this man, period, her child would not be suffering this embarrassment right now. And that is the issue. And a lot of black women, when you talk to them online about it, they get extremely upset because they don't want to accept responsibility. But the fact of the matter is, like this guy says, I'm a single father, right? He said he's a single father. And he says he doesn't want to hear no mess because he accepts responsibility of being a parent, that those kids come first. And that's the thing with this feminist mindset some of these black women have. They just want equality with no responsibility. And when it comes to being accountable, when things are dropped, then they
This ain't got nothing to do with gender or them bullshit red pill talking points.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
It does. Okay, this is not.
No, it doesn't. And if you tell me it does, then I'm gonna have to bring up the fact that the overwhelming majority of the predators are men. If you tell me it's about gender, I'm gonna bring up the fact that the overwhelming majority of these men are predators. Explain that. Explain that.
That man said, I need to be alone with your 14-year-old daughter to tell you how great of a mother you are, should have been a red flag. Red flag after red flag, she chose to ignore. And that is why she's in that situation today. That is why she's in a courtroom crying, giving her victim statement.
Yeah, and then why?
Wait, giving her what? Wait. Hold on. Wait. What did you just say? Calm down, because there's something key you just said. She gave her what? She gave her what statement? She gave her
I'm not
what
gonna let you
statement?
talk over me.
She gave her what
No,
statement?
Yeah, she gave her.
No. You said it right. You said it right, chump. She gave her victim statement. So y'all trying to victim
No,
shame.
don't
That's why y'all getting this
interrupt
pushback.
you, don't
That's what.
interrupt
That's
you,
what.
Amari.
That's why. That's
Asking
that's why you.
Amari,
That.
hold women
I'm
accountable.
glad you
All
said
right?
that. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Like you said, she gave her victim statement, so she's a victim. Shut the
She's not
fuck
a
up.
victim. She's not a
Then why she
victim.
gave a victim statement? Then what did the court qualify her as?
Had told her
What
to
did the
join
court
cult.
qualify her as? Let me ask you a question. 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 What did the court qualify her as? What did the court qualify her as? What did the court qualify her as?
Who told her to do that? It's called
What did the court qualify her as?
Accountability.
What did the court qualify her as? What did the court qualify her as?
Called accountability.
No. What did the court qualify her as?
Accountability, man.
What did the court qualify her as?
It's called the facts, and this is something I have seen.
No, they called her like they called her a victim. She's qualified as a victim. She's qualified as a victim.
She's not a victim.
She's qualified as a. You just said she gave a victim statement.
Below their status. They're dating men that have
no. So for you niggas, it's all about the sex. That's all y'all care about.
Who are you talking
y'all don't care about them kids. Y'all don't care about them kids. Y'all don't care about them kids. The only reason why y'all saying that because she was in a relationship with Polight.
Don't include your kind. That's you. That is you. I actually care about black women. I actually care to tell them the truth. That's different.
If you think okay, well let me ask you a question then. Let me ask you a question. Okay, so if she wasn't a victim,
help pay the rent, and she put her 10-year-old son.
So if she wasn't a victim,
that was her fault. She had.
So listen. So if she wasn't a victim, why was she not charged with a crime? Was the mother charged with a crime?
They're not going to do that because in this
was the mother charged with a crime, Negro? Was the mother charged with a crime?
Society, we don't believe
They're not going to do that because she wasn't. They're not going to do that because she wasn't. She didn't do nothing wrong.
She just admitted to child endangerment.
They're not going to do that because she didn't do nothing wrong.
She just admitted to child endangerment.
Okay, so then why didn't they charge her with child endangerment then? Why didn't they charge her with child endangerment?
They don't believe in holding women accountable. It's the same thing.
That's not true. We know empirically that's not true. We know empirically what you're saying is not true. We know empirically that's not true. They take black women children more than anybody, so what you're saying is incorrect. Y'all bullshit red pill talking points gonna get that work like it's getting. Stop over talking and y'all know what's gonna happen. Y'all sound stupid.
You're arguing in bad faith.
Y'all sound stupid.
No, it's not.
Y'all sound stupid. Okay, so if I'm arguing in bad faith, why wasn't she charged? They do it all the time. What you talking about?
They don't believe it.
Told you they don't hold women accountable.
They do it all the time.
They
do it all the time. What you talking about? They do it all the time. They do it all the time.
Empirically speaking,
yes, they do. Especially the black women. They take black women kids all the time. What y'all talking about?
And they give them right back. What are you talking about?
That don't matter. They still take them. You just not say they don't hold them accountable.
Guys, hold on. Wait, hold on.
They mad because they're getting that work.
You're not. You're just arguing in bad faith.
Yeah, okay. Why wasn't the mother charged then? If I'm arguing in bad faith, why wasn't the mother charged? It's very simple.
Hold on.
Jason,
I got a question. Cass, can you do me a favor real quick? Can you bring up that bullshit that Polight posted the other day with the drop charges? Can you bring that video real quick?
Yeah, let me pull it back up.
Just pull it real quick. I want to show y'all something. I just want to show y'all something.
I'm gonna do that right now.
All right, so we can just have a visual of what we're talking about.
All right, here it is.
The victim, not the
all right. Now hold on. Everybody, cool for a second. I want y'all to just watch this video. Turn the music
As you can see, it's all about the sex. That's why they keep calling this woman a whore for having a social life.
Mary, hold on.
It ain't the fact she has a social life.
Hypocrites. It's all about the pussy with these niggas. It's all about the sex with these niggas.
Guys, I want Jay Shine. Let me rewind back.
No, let them be good right where you are. You got just let it go. Just let it go. You all right? You see the lifestyle?
Yep.
I want to point something out to you. If you can go through his Instagram, you can see the same thing over and over again. All right. Now, what I'm going to point out here, it's probably going to trigger somebody on the panel, but it's not. But it's okay. All right, I just want to point this out. This is what she gave her daughter up for, Mary. This lifestyle, not a relationship, not a marriage, not a house, not a safe situation for a child. This is what she wanted. Let me finish it, Mary. Let me finish it, Mary.
How you can
Mary,
let somebody?
Mary,
Y'all sound stupid, man.
No,
Mary,
y'all sound stupid.
Mary, pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. This video is recent. These are women who are still around him, right? There's still women in his booth hanging with him, hanging on him, doing their pictures, getting their shine on, you know what I mean? Living the lifestyle with Polight when he's already been charged with this shit. These are women who are still around.
That's what I'm talking about, man. And when you call them out on it, they get mad and get defensive.
You can't.
Let me ask y'all a question.
What you saying?
Let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask y'all a question.
Mary, let me ask you a question now. I'm throwing the ball to
you. Go ahead.
My question to you, brother, is this: you want to equate this bullshit that they live in with sending your kid to fucking school and something happening to him?
This is what I'm saying. It's the same thing. What y'all doing?
Same thing. Mary, you crazy as hell. Say that this is the same thing.
It ain't got nothing to do with that.
And Mary,
you got to repeat your sentence. The phone started boring. Are you in a bad area now? Because it was now starting to mess up.
How I sound now?
You sound good.
How I sound now?
Yeah, repeat yourself.
What they're doing is they're trying to deploy respectability politics. Look, we live in a society. We live in a society. I'm talking. We live in it. Yes, that's what you're doing. We live in a society. We live in a society that chaos. You gonna have to mute him while I'm trying to talk, because I don't have to have this conversation.
Let him finish. Hold up.
Control your impulse disorder. Control your impulse disorder, brother. That's what they say about us as black men. We got a problem controlling our impulse.
They say that about your.
We got a problem controlling. No, they say that about your black ass.
Hold on, wait.
They say that about your black ass. Go read the book.
Let him finish.
All right, let me go.
Go read the book.
I can't hear it. So one person. Let me.
So at the end of the day, we live in a society that affords us to have a social life, even if we're parents. People do it all the time. Then, if you want to say, okay, well, look at the lifestyle. You do realize they got parents and women who don't live that type of lifestyle, and their child is still a predator. It's about predators. They ain't got nothing to do with the gender politics or none of this other stuff y'all talking about. It's about the predator.
Bringing up gender politics.
It's about the predator.
Gender war.
It's about the predator.
Bringing it up. You're making assumptions.
No
one's talking about red pill.
You sound stupid, nigga. You sound stupid. You sound. Okay, this is the last thing I'm gonna say on this, and I'm just gonna say this. If you go back and you read any of the sociological, I've been doing a lot of research on the sociological literature and what the charges white men used to make about black men. And one of the things that they would say is that free black men pose a threat to women and children. And I'd be damned if you niggas ain't on YouTube all day proving that white boy right. I'd be damned.
Okay, so
that's what y'all sound like. That's all y'all doing. All y'all doing is showing any type of society y'all niggas would be fucked up. That's what you're doing. See, this white man understands the rule of law. He understands civil society. And in civil society, you protect citizens and you police predators. See, he understands that. So why is this white dude a better adjudicator of what's right and what's wrong than you brothers? What's the difference? Why he understand it but you don't? Why you understand it but you don't?
Respectability politics, but you're gonna try to.
That's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing.
White supremacist women. Like Elizabeth Stanton, you supporting feminism. I'm not taking you seriously, Amari. I'm not taking you seriously.
You do realize, well, real quick, because I deal with knowledge and information, and I don't cherry pick. You do realize that that Elizabeth Cady Stanton and those white feminists who were white supremacists. Let me finish. You brought it up. You brought it up.
Marching in the back in their marches.
You brought it up. You brought it up. So let me go ahead and educate you perfectly on what we're talking about. Let me give you some education because it's obvious you don't know what you're talking about. So we do realize that the white suffragette movement split over the racism of Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony. Run that game on somebody who don't read. Run that game on somebody who don't read, nigga. Run that game on somebody who don't read.
You would also know
the suffragette movement split over the racism of Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton.
You would also know that up until 1916
was for white women only.
And then you will also know, and Mary, if you claim you're so well read, you would also know that up until 1916, there were more women that were against women having the right to vote than were in favor of it. So how the fuck you explain that?
So what? So what they got to do is just like right now, you got more Americans who are against black people getting reparations than black people who are for reparations. What the hell that's supposed to mean?
The white man.
What the hell that's supposed? That don't mean nothing.
Here we go with this shit.
In a free and open society, all members of the society are equal. It ain't got nothing to do with gender. It's not supposed to be about. See, the white man was wrong. Let me finish. Let me finish. The white man was wrong for otherizing everybody else who wasn't a white man. He was wrong. It wasn't supposed to be about gender. The very principles that this country was founded upon was the idea that all members of the society, all citizens, are created equal. So he was wrong for doing what he was doing. That's why they've been correcting course and perfecting the union. And it befuddles me how you niggas want to get on the panel and try and somehow want to pick up this mantra of xenophobia and want to otherize women. Well, so women shouldn't have rights and this person when they was doing the same thing to your black ass. Y'all sound stupid. I'm talking about that dude with the K. I'm talking about that dude with the K.
What the fuck are you talking about?
What you mean what I'm talking about? Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
The whole argument been, let me fucking finish, Amiri, because like you said, you want people
to talk. I know that y'all don't never come to my panel. I wonder why.
Because you're full of shit.
No, because you know what's gonna happen if you do. You ain't gonna be able to do all that over talking. You ain't gonna be able to do that over talking. I dare you to come over there. You ain't gonna come.
You're full of shit.
You ain't gonna come. You gonna come where you can over talk and try and filibuster. That's why you're gonna do that.
Like I was saying before, we literally made the whole argument that Brother Polight is a piece of shit and he needs to have the book thrown at him, right? There's no argument in regards to that. All right. And then on top of that, Jane Sean also said that not only should Brother Polight be held accountable, but also the mother of the child needs to be held accountable for admitting to engaging in child endangerment. There's no possible fucking excuse you can fucking give me, Amiri, as to why the fucking 14-year-old girl should be at an adult party alone with a grown-ass man around 1:00 p.m. She should have been with a babysitter. She should have been at home somewhere. She should have not have been at that party, period. And the fact that she brought her daughter in the presence of this fucking scammer and put her in a position to be abused. She needs to have the book thrown at her for child endangerment.
Maybe there's some validity to that. Let me ask you a question. Okay, so if y'all view is the view, why didn't the court do that?
Because I explained that. Hold up. Let me jump in real quick. I explained that, Mary. I talked about remember that viral video. I'm trying to remember when it happened. It was somewhere in the South. There was a viral video of a woman standing in the courtroom getting admonished by a white judge, a black woman. And he was just going on and on and on about how this is her fault. You know, she's a terrible mother. It was, her boyfriend, did something crazy to her children. So now they're sentencing the guy, and then at the sentencing, he's sitting there admonishing this woman. And my question was, why he just arrest her? And then what I did, and when I brought her up earlier, Mary, is I said, I feel the same way about women who lay with D-boys. See, we have a society that does not treat these women accountable when they're helping people, in these situations. You know what I mean? And I gave you a perfect example earlier.
They just gave Ghislaine Maxwell. They just gave Ghislaine Maxwell 27 years, brother. Go ahead.
Let me finish. I was giving a perfect example earlier of a beautiful baby girl that was killed by a daycare, left in the car for 5.5 hours in the daycare van. And now how all the women were on the news talking about how everybody at that daycare should be arrested. Everybody should be held accountable. But now when it comes to child endangerment, when women are bringing predators around their children, and then you still have not explained why this girl was at an adult party in a man's room at 1 o'clock in the morning. You still haven't explained that by herself.
Didn't Polight tell the mother, I want to talk to your daughter, and again, this
That's
ain't
what
like
she
she
said.
just
But
this
it
ain't like
doesn't matter.
so now you're saying that's what she says. So see, this is what I'm saying. So, okay, so listen at what I'm saying. Listen at what I'm saying.
Around my child around 1 o'clock in the fucking morning when
That's you. That's you. And listen at what I'm saying here.
Oh, so we're the one. Hold on, time out, Mary. So we're the ones that run the fucking crazy world. This is the world you co-signing this shit. You co-sign this.
No, listen at what I'm saying. Listen at what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: is that's you're right. If that's how you want to do it, fine. But what I'm saying is that you can be like that, and your child can still be prayed. And they got parents who are like that, and their child will still pray. Period. It ain't, see what y'all, the reason with the problem that I have with the argument y'all laying out, the problem that I have with the argument that you all are laying out is that y'all making it seem as if every time a child is prayed on, it's something like this. No. I'm talking. The problem that I have with the argument you all are laying out is you're making it seem as if every time a child is a victim, it's because of stuff like this. And that's just not true. That's not true. It's under. Look, you can no. Listen, you can look at. That's why I brought up real quick. That's why I brought up.
Mary, we're asking you a specific question.
What?
We're not talking about every situation. We're talking about this one. All right. Let's stop jumping in and out. All right. That's why I bring it back to this situation. I said you cannot explain to me, Mary, and you still have not justified why that girl was in that room.
I just told you why.
Okay, so let's not go nowhere else. Let's just stick with this situation for a second. All right? Can you say that this? My question to you is this. That's what I'm trying to ask you. You don't see no culpability with the mother in this?
Did I say that? I never even said that.
I didn't say you said. I'm asking you. Do you see any culpability with the mother in this? This specific situation.
Sure.
Okay. Then what are we arguing about? We're talking about accountability. We're talking about accountability.
The reason why I'm gonna say it again very slowly. The problem that I have with the argument you all are presenting is making it seem as if the scenarios where children are harmed are scenarios like this. And what I'm saying is that is not true. Let me finish. I'm about to finish. Please stop cutting me off. The one theme that is consistent when children are preyed upon by a predator is that it was done by a person that the parents and the children trusted. Period. That's it.
Got that.
So they're like, that. Come on, man.
Let me ask you.
That's my problem I have with what y'all saying.
Let me ask you
Go ahead,
question, Mary. A woman is dating a drug dealer, right? A drug dealer.
What does that do with a drug dealer? Or go ahead.
Mary, let me answer the question, dog.
All right, go ahead.
Wait, chill, man. I ain't even say nothing. I'm just giving you a scenario. It's just a question. The woman is dating a drug dealer, right? A known drug dealer. She's riding around Chicago with her drug dealer boyfriend. She got her son in the back. That son is not his son. That's her child. So she's hanging. They went shopping, whatever the case might be. She's with a D-boy because he got resources, whatever the case. What are her reasons are? The car gets shot up, right? Because he's involved in some shit. Now, throughout the whole fucking relationship, she's been helping him, hold stuff, hold this, hold that. She's been in the house. She's been privy to conversation. So she knows what's going on with this guy. The car gets shot up. They don't get shot, but the kid gets hit. Do you find any responsibility with the mother in this? Or it's just the fucking drug dealers and the goons on the streets that's responsible?
No, of course the mother has put herself and a child in danger. That's a different situation.
That's all we're saying.
No. Let me finish. He asked me a question. The difference is nobody is running around here with a big scarlet letter saying I'm a child predator. It's different. You can't use the drug. It's obvious what the drug dealer on.
Scam artist and a cult leader
it's obvious what the drug dealer is on, man. Come on, it's not the same.
Come on now.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask y'all a question.
But if I go, one more question, Mary. If I go to women's house right now, you're right, and I would agree with them. when they say things like, when they tell us stories about being molested, being touched, being, dealing with men who are, predators and aggressive, whatever you want to call them, right? These perpetrators, right? So if women can sit around freely in 2023, 2022, 2021, talking about how many predators are out here, then wouldn't it make more sense to even be more on her head for doing what she did?
In terms of what?
Knowing that we're in a society full of predators, wouldn't it make more sense to hold the women more accountable for who they bring around their children?
How you gonna hold this woman accountable?
Because the women are telling us that this is the state of affairs. It's the same thing about protection, right? You're telling me that these men out here beating the shit out of women, they're killing women, femicide is up, all this kind of stuff. Then wouldn't it make sense not to get drunk by yourself? You know what I mean? In society, you know what I'm saying? And then it's crazy for a man to say, or even a father, because I'm coming from a father's perspective, to say, hey, don't be out here binge drinking. Don't be out here hanging with people you don't know. Don't be doing this. And it'd be them saying, well, my social life is my social life. I do what I want. I should be able to do what I want. But you just told me on a panel how dangerous society is, how dangerous men are. See, this is the argument you're making, Amiri. When you can talk about the percentages of the perpetrators and all that kind of stuff. So if that's the fucking environment, then why don't fucking women just let anybody around their children?
Let me ask you a question. So you can't look at what you just said. You said, why are they letting anybody around their children? And this is what I'm saying, that the predator, he's not just going to be anybody. He's going to put himself in position where he's somebody trusted and close. Why y'all act like y'all don't understand that? It's not like that's why I said I could see if she just met Polight, but apparently this is an ongoing, whatever situationship, whatever they had going on, she trusted him. And this is what predators do. They get close. No, let me finish. What these predators do is they get close. They not only do they get close with the children, they get close with the parents. They pretend to be good people, and they'll play that role for a long time. And that's what they do. So what I'm saying is when it comes specifically to child predation, it is different, because this is what predators do. They're not just going to be running around and portraying themselves as weird, coming off as like they're very disarming. Look up the psychology on child predators. It's deep. It's not just simple as we trying to make it. And that's why I said I've done everything I could to keep my children's faith safe, but I've never been under any auspices that my children couldn't have been preyed on. That's just what it is. And a lot of times, real quick. And a lot of times, it's the person right next to you who's the predator, and you won't even know it.
Exactly. Most predators are close to you. We get that. That point is, we're not arguing that issue. My point is this. Let me ask you this. Knowing what we know about the Catholic Church, would you leave your kid alone with a fucking Catholic priest? You.
Now, no.
Okay, so we know that now, right? We know that.
Right.
You're telling me women don't know anything about predators. They don't know nothing about male. They don't know nothing.
Yeah, but listen to what I'm saying, though, Jason.
No.
Jason, let me ask you a question.
That wasn't the real question. The real question I'm asking is this, because they know about cheaters, right? They know about male abusers. They expect all that. See, but all men cheat. All that shit is all good and fine. But when it comes to this, protecting the children, we got to make excuses. And I'm not making excuses when it comes to children. All right. When it comes to children,
let me ask you a question, Jason.
That fucking
I hear you.
The window with me.
I hear you, but let me ask you a question. If a woman leaves her child around you, are you gonna harm that child?
That's irrelevant.
No, it's not irrelevant. Are you gonna harm the child?
Because
no, it's not.
I'm not. But the thing is, she's rolling the dice still. If anything,
it don't matter, brother.
I'll tell you what though.
All right, go ahead, man. Y'all tripping.
Mary, if I go to the bathroom and take a shit, and if something happens to this child, and this child ends up getting injured in my home, you know what I mean? Yeah, she's still, you know what I mean? She left me. I might be an irresponsible.
Yeah, but that's a different.
Rolling the dice.
But this is what I'm saying.
I don't roll dice with my daughter.
Listen to what I'm telling you. Everything is rolling your dice. That's the point that I was making.
For what? Mary, for what? And that's what
everything is rolling the dice, brother.
No, Mary, that's why I said for what? I asked Chaos to show you the video of the lifestyle. If you go to her Instagram, you go to his Instagram, you see what it's about. It's not even about nothing noble. It's not, you keep acting like this woman was in this one-on monogamous relationship where they were building a life together and get the fuck out of here. This was about the nightlife. This is about no. This is about her getting what she wanted out of life from whoever, and she fucking sacrificed her child to do it. And that's the bottom line.
Everybody trying to make it like she's this innocent woman, and Brother Polight had no red flags, none at all. He was not a scammer. He didn't run a cult. I mean, give me a break.
You sound stupid, man. You sound stupid. You really think what you're saying sounds smart? You sound dumb, bro.
No,
For real.
I sound pretty intelligent more than you.
You sound stupid, man. You sound stupid.
White supremacist ideology as something to be proud of.
Let me ask you a question. Didn't you say you had to go to work? Didn't you say you had to go to work?
No questions.
Didn't you say you had to go to work?
Black women. Don't ask me.
No, because he's talking about feminism is white supremacist. Capitalism is white supremacist. Your black ass don't do that.
You know nothing about
your black ass don't do that.
You thinking
I see why they won't come up to my. I see why they won't come up to my panel, because they know what's gonna happen.
You dead to me.
All right, yo, I gotta roll, man. Y'all be good, man. All right.
But your monkey ass gonna go make money. Your monkey ass gonna go make money with that white supremacist capitalism, though. So it's about gender with these niggas. That's why I don't want to hear their mouth.
Shut up! You just making assumptions out your ass. You know nothing about me.
Oh, so now you don't want to make. So now you don't make money. So you a broke nigga. So you a broke. So you a broke nigga. Okay.
Nah, man, I'm not broke. I'm far from broke, bro. I'm far from broke.
So okay, so you subscribe to that white supremacist capitalism then?
Dude, shut the fuck up! I'm out, man. I'm out. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I know you ain't got no choice but to be out. Your ass was out before you got in, chump.
Nah, man. I don't talk to bitch ass dudes, man, who don't know anything about certain ideologies, and you still talking shit like an idiot. Mofo defending Polight.
No, you're defending Polight.
No, I'm not, cockroach.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
See, it's all with this derelict Negro. It's all about sex with this derelict Negro male.
Up like she's some innocent, Little Red Riding Hood ass woman. She's not.
So you're deploying the respectability politics, like I said. But I know you don't. I know you don't know what that means. I know you don't know what that means. You don't know what that means. So it's going over your head.
No, it's not going over my head, man. I just know you're a dumbass. But hey, you got to be you. You're a dumbass. That's it. Enjoy feminism, white supremacy. Good night.
As you can see, any society these niggas run gonna be fucked up. It's gonna be fucked up. They're gonna blame women when predators do shit, because what they want to do is see what they're trying to say is she can only be held because if she was devout and that, man, people do that and the child still become a prey. It ain't about that. It's about the predator. Calling a woman a hoe and all that. What the hell I got to do with any damn thing? And they're trying to make it like you holding thing for this. It ain't about that. It's about the predator. Period. It's about the predator. It's about the predator, man.
Any short closing remarks? Because I do want to tell my little story before I shut this down.
Go ahead.
All right. Y'all seen through the video evidence and make sure you might thing back on. Let's correct that. Oh, he got correct. Okay. No, it's so scattered. I'm gonna lower you down here because the noise is too much. Okay. All right, guys. Now do y'all see about everything with Brother Polight, right? Now I gotta tell my story of Brother Polight. Dates 2011 to 2023 is unfortunately the day when Brother Polight started to come into the conscious circle / lecture. How I know, because that was the year with some other people I know, we went to attend this event. It was a debate / not actually it was a lecture. My fault. Not debate. It's a lecture actually of prominent content creators, mostly conscious people, not content, because at the time I don't think people were doing YouTube yet, but these people were doing lectures on DVDs, videos, etc. Right? And I met Brother Polight. Now, at first glance, you see him with his little hat, his little Iharu, and you know, when I remember back in 2011, of the end of 2011, December, he was how can you say it? He was talking about that thing about Black women's God and some other things. This is what I can recall back in 2011. And then the following year, I think 2012 or roughly 2013, I went again to go see him in New York again. And it was a different lecture where at the time, when I saw him the second time, he already established his own brand aside from the Wapian camp, which he called New Covenant. And at the time, if you know, during 2012 going 2013, 2012 especially, New Covenant was born. And he had his books, most of them like he scripted and plagiarized from what I'm hearing. I bought one book from, but it looked like it was more like repeated language. And I can't say it's well written because, you know, it looked like something he just took out and copy and paste. But nonetheless, that's my reconciled remembrance of Brother Polight back in 2012, well, 2011 through 2013-ish. And I could say probably 2014 as well, maybe, if I can remember. I met him probably twice, most likely, back in 2010. And at a time when Brother Polight showed prominence and be as a lecturer was back in 2011. So people that don't understand the thumbnail and the dates, that was the official date when Polight was actually born in the conscious circle. Now, as you know, he has evolved back in 2011 up to late 2010s. As you know, he's talking about this Black woman's God and stuff. And then when he started making some actual money from his New Covenant, he eventually moved out the hood. Then you see him change his persona. He was wearing more gold jewelry, so buying fancy stuff. Even go as far as him and his baby mama. Not his mamas, some baby mamas, some girlfriends. Some don't wear the afro no more. They go and wear the long stringy hair. That shit, you know. And as you know, he start chained up where he start having non-Black women. As you know, the picture of the white girl with dashiki. I think that came out in what year that came out? I think that came out 2017, I think. 2018. It was a while back. And as you know, only thing you see from there up on, you see him living the high life, the lamb life, the, you know, keeping up with the Jones and all that stuff. And at the time around late 2000s, he met yes, as y'all know. And then you know how that turned out with Ron Tess. If y'all didn't know, Ron Tess was heavily vouching for him, and to the point where he discovered that this guy was I would say a fraud. Then he decided to, you know, separate himself. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then as you know, going on to the end of the 2010s to 2010, you know, he was still putting himself out there, but behind closed doors, really, you know. But really, truly, if people did not know, and 1 second, guys. One thing you did not know is that Brother Polight always had good taste in regards to his appearance, even go as far as, you know, putting out how much of a big time he is. The amount of money he makes in a very lavish form. And I will be honest with you, it is a front, a persona front, just to keep the illusion going. I mean, I even heard that some vehicles he used to run back tens that he was renting, which makes sense. And probably when he started making millions, when he first hit his first million or so, I would say maybe back in mid 2015. And really, when he started really making $1 million, that's when he really started changing up, if you notice. And the more money he got, the more his taste only exudes. So the same with the with this girl that he molested or touched, right? It was expected. And I remember one time there was a video out circling right now, and I probably my last commentary about it, that I did not know he did back in the I think it was 2002 or 2003. I'm not sure when. I'm probably gonna pull it up. But one thing before we do, you know what's funny? That image of the girl that y'all saw me posted, I'm looking at her social media, the one that Polight that molested her daughter. This woman is Latina woman. Weird reason, and I'm not gonna waste time showing pictures because I'm gonna tell y'all this, that those is not aware. She still got Brother Polight on her IG for some reason. Surprisingly. And the last article that shows it says otherwise, which I find it very odd. Very odd indeed. Matter of fact, you know, my thing is this. My thing is this. At the end of the day, Brother Polight is doing big time in jail, and there's no way around it. Regardless of the videos you sent, and if I look at this last one he did, this one was a day ago, and this is the last video you're gonna see of him. Okay, he was sentenced, and I'm looking, and he did this intention, or someone that like his wife might control his social media now for whatever reason. Well, my biggest concern, really, and let me see if I can find. When I was looking at the articles from the actual Florida newspaper, it looks like it removed certain things. Surprisingly, I don't know why, but let me play it again, and let me see if it shows anything else. It only shows him in his highlight social media influencer, but nothing of any significance. And they also got his actual arrest record and papers right here. So regardless how Brother Polight wants to play off that he beat the case, you can't beat this case, because once the white people expose you on their media outlet, it's pretty much a wrap. It's a wrap. Now, it was Negroes, we could probably say it's scamming, but once the white man puts you out here, it's pretty much a wrap. Unfortunately, it's a wrap. And he costs it on himself. Now, if y'all want to know more about this, you guys going to do your own research on this. I'm not going to invest more in this personally. As you know, the social media of this, even the article finds article now after 2 years, they kind of water it down for a reason. I don't know why. But it comes with a territory. Let me run this last video. If y'all guys want to still come up and have any other takes, I'll put it one more time. This will be the last call for the call link. After that, you speak your fees. All right. So now I'm going to sit here and play the last video that came across me of this man talking about he talked to one of the victims, or actually. All right. Let's see how loud this is.
When you see, I'm speaking on behalf of the children or the people that had to testify or that testified.
Had to testify based on what that he did do something to them.
Well, I say had to testify because some people didn't testify. So some people felt it in them that they had to do this, like it's something that they had to do. For me, it felt like it was something that I had to do because one, like I told you, both of my sisters went through the same thing I went through.
Hey,
both of my older sisters.
Do you mind sharing? I don't know nothing.
Sharing what? Okay, well, both of my sisters been molested.
By who?
By Malachi York. By Pops, Barbara, you know, Esau, Mom Esau, whatever. You know, they've been.
And the funny thing about all this, it's not familiar. That's not really familiar. And I'll repeat this again for those that's going to catch this. When Malachi York was sentenced, it was back in 2003, 20 years ago now, in June. Now we find one of his, actually, he's being charged with the same crime similar to Malachi York. Because one of the things was child endangerment, molestation, harboring people, and all that stuff. It's not as severe like Malachi York, which he pleaded to as well, regardless if he was coerced, nonetheless you took the plea deal or you lost, whatever the case may be. You know, it is what it is. Let's keep listening.
And he has sex with them, and it was
what ages?
At what ages? I mean, you know, if you want to get the accurate number, you can ask them.
Around what?
And you know, KW Don Sim, you're right. He should have been canceled once this video came out. But you see the problem, and you know, if you want to come up, the links in the chat room. The reason why he's not canceled is because he created a persona. He created a certain slurred word. I mean, not slurred. Let me say this. He created how can I call this? He's like a unique preacher. All he does is says some special word phrases, salad to the right set of people, and you're all forgiven from your sins. I'm sure that's the right way of saying it. But he created a persona of himself that people just does not really pay attention enough. So that's why he was able to get by and survive the years he's been. Isn't Polight married to Malachi York? Sorry. No, he was not. He was never married. He's not married legally then and not married legally now. I'm not sure who said he was once married. That's some new information to me, but you know, let's keep listening.
You know, I mean,
7, 8. You know, and I will only speak for myself as far as the personal thing that I've been through.
Of course, you.
And as far as if you know, and I don't want to get graphic. One, you know, okay, I'm a dude. I'm not gonna be walking around saying that I've been molested, this, and that happened. As a man, you don't. I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So when in my situation or the way I grew up, I was ready to move on. I left in 2001. I was ready to just live my life, move on, whatever. You know what I'm saying? The people started doing the investigations and stuff. The FBI started doing the investigations, started trying to get statements from people. Both my sisters went ahead and I still had nothing to do with it. No statement, no nothing. When I realized, okay, they about to go to court, you know, and I went through the same thing that they went through. Like, I'm my mother's only son, you know what I'm saying? So I'm the man of the family. You know what I'm saying? My sisters were gonna stand up for themselves, and I'm, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, well, and then that's when I gave my you know, my statement, and that's when I decided that, you know, that I was gonna go ahead and do it. Nobody wants to see they family go get locked away. So I really understand how hard it is for people that's deeply involved in it also. And people gotta understand, I was born and raised in it too. From inside out.
Yes, hard talk. Yes. Polight was a student of Malachi York. And here's the funny thing. Because a lot of people, whether they like Malachi York or not, he did some things that brought some attention, some conscience at the time. But conscience does not move the people in the long, especially us as people in the long run of our situation, unfortunately. Let's keep going.
Also, what it feels like not to have this person around still giving leadership. You know, so it's not no stranger, no random person that's saying, oh, this happened. I mean, you know, this stuff, like, I was 7 years old. You know what I'm saying? I was upstate New York after Brooklyn. You know, I was upstate New York when he first, you know, touched me or whatever, in molested, you know. And so from 7 to 14, 7 years that I went through this, you know what I'm saying? And that's my story.
Would you say there's been no children molested by Dr. York? I would say so.
I mean, I would say that it was, you know, if I could confirm people that I could strongly confirm, it would be about 15 or 20 people.
Obviously,
before we continue, Aminette is not related to Malachi York. Aminette, from last time I checked, she is a Guyanese descent. That been knowing each other since they were teenagers, so they're not really. She's not really related to Malachi York, unfortunately. Both Malachi York and his son for child abuse. Which son is that? Hard Talk. If you could tell me his name, I would appreciate it.
With 15 to 20 children were being molested. We have to now say, how come the adults wasn't saying nothing? Shouldn't they be locked up with Dr. York too? How come they're free to testify about it?
You understand the adults were separated from their children. You know, so you had the girls in one house, the women in one place, the brothers in one place. You know, everybody was separated. So it wasn't no house with a family, and then you could recognize when your child is gone.
You mean to tell the world that none of these children had enough sense in their mind to go tell their parent that this isn't right? I've been touched sexually, I've been sexually abused. Not one child out of all these children. It could have stopped so long ago if just one child or just one adult. What caused all of this to come out? First you hear nothing from nobody.
Yeah.
You hear nothing from nobody. Then you hear something from everybody all at the same time.
They might not have been the medium to talk to anybody about the situation.
Not even their parents.
I mean, that's why, of course. I could have told my mother.
We chose not to.
It's not that I chose not to. To really explain it would really take a lot. But I mean, you're not really yourself when you're not. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no esteem. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no. You know what I'm saying? You can't even face like. My mother had to, when she found out from my sister, and she came to me and asked me about it, and I still really couldn't even tell her. I had to say, well, I had sex with the girl, and he was there. And that was my way of telling her that, yeah, initial conversation, and this is like 2 weeks before we left. It was something I was under. I couldn't tell my mom. I didn't tell nobody. It was something that held me to not say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because I looked up to him as my dad, because I looked up to him as the person that he was. I thought he was a God figure. I thought he, and all those reasons. I'm trying to like see why is this going on? What's the significance? I'm young. I don't even know what really into sex, and I don't.
Why do you think he?
Oh, and another thing, have y'all noticed Brother Polight at the time got hair? Little patch fro, man. But this time he has like a 5 head, so I can see why most brothers shave the head up, because when you barely have a receding hairline, fair use.
He's locked up for 135 years, underground 60 feet, in a super max penitentiary with no one with a case likened to his own, amongst cannibals. Not because what you think he should be locked up for, why you think he's locked up.
Well, I mean, to answer your question in the way that I think you're asking it, you know what I'm saying? Because one, you have a black leader getting black people together and was building a sovereign nation.
Tell me if this is something you believe. That's not what I want to hear. What do you personally believe, dealing with the facts of the matter? Not denying you of your experience, but based on what we all know, what is necessary to lock a person up when you accuse.
I know from history. What I know from history is that whenever you have a black leader that's uplifting the people, that's doing something for the community, that's bringing people together, and that's building people and elevating people, then they get taken down. And he wouldn't have been taken down, and he hasn't been taken down until they found something that to take him down with. If he threw everything away by molesting kids, did he really care about everybody else? This is what I have to live with. How do I come across the people that's in the knowledge and even vibe with them and talk to them on a regular level, and people looking at me one way?
A class of ours.
That's cool, but you know what I'm saying. But it is. But see, the thing is that
it don't make you a bad person.
At the end of the day, people's always gonna have his word over anybody else's word, because that's all they know.
No, at the end of the day, he's locked up, so obviously they took your word over everyone else's. It doesn't matter, like I told you, if we say he's innocent, when he's still locked up in prison. Your word accounted for everything.
I can't go back. You know what I'm saying? I can only face what's in front of me. And everything that's in front of me, I see people that's being misled. I see people that's under the impression, and even though
being misled by what? Because people are saying Doc is being railroaded. That people are saying none of this has to do with the case as far as the government is concerned. The government don't give a damn about the accusations.
Saying that
are you hearing what I'm saying?
You got people saying that kids haven't been molested. I can't see what you're seeing. I can't see I know what happened to me. I know what he did. I know what kind of person he is. You know what I'm saying? So
what kind of person he is? That's the question I want to ask you. What kind of person is Dr. York?
I mean, you get what you see. You get what you see.
Tell me,
but
who is he to
what
you?
people didn't see is also the
I
shit
asked
that was
about other
going
people.
on.
I want to know
Now,
about
there
you
was 99
personally. I want to get into your mind. I want to
Okay.
know, what is he to you? Who is he to you?
Who he is to me right now, he's somebody that did a lot of things great, but had his flaws, and it didn't correct those flaws. He had years and years and years to correct those flaws. He didn't correct those flaws. Now I came back, and now he's incarcerated. Should he be in there? Should he be out? Someone
Yes or
like
no?
him.
All right, let me see what Hard Talk wrote. Yeah, he is downgrading, you know. I agree, Hard Talk. And you know, it's funny. It's very funny that boy, it's rough. But hey, let's keep going.
Shouldn't be incarcerated if they uplifted the community and doing what he did. But if you're gonna do that, and on top of that, still do the wrong thing for years and years and years, then you definitely shouldn't be out on the streets. That's if I was the devil, the perfect devil is the one who's gonna be a pastor, a preacher, or the one doing the right thing, the one doing the wrong thing and send you to hell. That's the perfect devil right there. The perfect. If I was a devil right now, I'd be telling you to do the right thing. I'd be telling you to live your life this way, and I'll be sending you right to hell. The devil knows the gospel as well as any pastor or preacher. So if the devil is going to do his job, what better way to do it than to have everybody lifting themselves or doing the right thing? And in actuality, it's like they're going up, but they're going this way. It's not just up. It's like they're going up and they're going astray. You know what I'm saying? That's the only really way that the devil could do his job, is to deceive people into thinking that he's actually Christ. That's why they say you will have false prophets and false messiahs. I would respect a wolf. If I was a sheep, I would respect a wolf that approached me and tried to hunt me down than a wolf that came in sheep clothing.
My whole argument in this whole situation, what people believe, I got the right to be angry. You know why? Because the Lord promises me something different. The Lord promises me that we will lock people up beyond a shadow of a doubt. That's what the Lord promises me.
Yeah. But in this case, it was up to 12 people to have that reasonable doubt or not, and those 12 people made the decision.
It's not. So what's the point?
If you want to fight for
it's your matter of opinion. If you would have
fight for it for another reason. Don't fight for it because he's innocent of a molesting kid.
Let's say he molested 1,000 children, factually. Okay. Genetic evidence and everything, things that we don't deny scientifically. We say, wow, okay, true. If someone was to ask me, would you still worship him as your Most High, acknowledge him as your Most High God, I would have to. I don't identify with everything he does there, much like I believe most Christians don't identify with everything their God does, because it says their God is a jealous God. And some Christians would tell you it's not right to be jealous. And some would tell you that, they shouldn't be vengeful, but in the Bible it tells you the Most High is a vengeful God. And it tells you shouldn't hate, but it tells you that God loved Jacob and he hated Esau. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's the difference between being a proud Nubian and
I'm seeing Hard Talk right here. This young man should have asked these nonsense questions and trying to play sympathy card for Malachi York. Well, this is mass teacher, so the white is going to protect Dr. York because that is his pappy. Who cares about he's in prison with cannibals? He deserved to be locked up. This dude really victim blaming here. Yeah. And now he's feeling the blunt of his own crimes. Let's keep going.
And saying that he's innocent. Okay, that's two different people. I could be a proud Nubian because I was born in Nuwapu, but it's two different kinds of people.
Oh, you got people. Nubian, if that's the case,
I can be, but how can I be a proud Nubian if the Nubians are saying that he's innocent and I'm saying that this happened to me?
Yeah,
so now it is. You see how we sitting down talking. That's. But see, the thing is that, now is my word against the master teacher's word, and whose word is they gonna take?
I know one thing the master teacher always taught is that when you're looking at the sides of the truth, there's his side, her side, versus his or her side. But really, in actuality, it's just the truth. It's your side, their side, and just the truth. There's only one. There's only one truth.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And so y'all know, let me do this one more time. This is the lady. And if you want extra proof, let's go even further. Let's go further. Let us go further. Let's go further. And mind you, that was off the news article back in 2021. You will not see that picture now because that picture, I can't find the IG now. And if y'all want more proof, okay. Let me see. Let me do a snippet. Let me do this. Let me show you some other proof. Let me show you this. I'm gonna do this one right here. So you guys get a better picture. All right, good. All right, that's good. That's good enough. Let me show you one more, just for good measure. And remove. Oh, then remove this too. I don't want to see this crap. One last time. Let's look. Oh, do I have it? Oh no, cancel. Wait. See that? You see the difference? That's her. That's the mother. And how I know? Because that was on the article 2 years ago. You're not gonna find that art. You're not gonna find that picture of the IG now because they removed it. She's not black either. She's like probably Hispanic. You know. Yeah. And to be honest with you, she looked like she's doing pretty well. I think she's makes money somehow. So obviously it makes sense that she is dealing with her alleged social class. And she didn't really fan out properly. But what do I know? What do I know? But anywho. So, that's pretty much it, people. I gave my own first take experience meeting him in person back in 2011 up to 2012, 2013-ish. And that's pretty much I could tell y'all. And in regards to the verdict, it was well done and it's well justified, personally. It is well justified. I'm not sure what's going to happen to him now. All I know is he's going to be doing time in jail for a good long time. And this really marks the end of the conscious hustle of Brother Polight. Now, the biggest question people should ask, can he really rebound from this? Answer, no. And the reason why I say he can't rebound from this because only time people know or spending money with you is when you're active and you're present. And they gotta see you in your limelight, meaning they gotta see the nice cars, the fashion, etc. And personally, you can't keep that up forever now because you're now behind bars. So really, truly, this is it. Now, will Brother Polight really, as he really comes out and back into the real world in the next 7 years, which that'll be, it was 2023 now, he will not be back out in the real world / back in the out of behind bars until 2030. So this whole remainder of this decade, we're not gonna see Brother Polight, most likely, and that's on his accords. Unfortunate, people. Unfortunate. Yeah, he is. He is. He definitely is. You know. Let me drop some links before I wrap this up. As you see the links I'm dropping right now. These are my links. Please follow me. Follow me on Rumble, CRain23 on CRain23. That's my Rumble page. And all links to also follow me are the following. Please follow me on Twitter at ChaosRain7. What else? Oh, add me as a friend on Facebook, Eric Ray on Facebook as well. And please join the Discord service of the Chaos Reign Show as well. Oh, Hard Talk wrote here. I'm gonna read your comment in a second, Hard Talk. You wrote here that it all depends. He ain't stupid. He will try to go in the PC. Yeah, he might. He might. Here's my Twitter at Chaos Reign 7. That's my Twitter. This is my Rumble. CRain23. Get that. And also, this is my Discord service as well. So then it is to do the moonwalking shuffle to separate himself from Polight, but is it too late? Oh, that's an excellent question, KW Don. Personally, anyone that's still listening to Soundnetter TV at this point, you're stupid. He actually outlived his purpose in regards to consciousness. I remember his baby mama in Nepal. Oh no, not baby. His alleged wifey or girlfriend. I think she's defending Soundnetter for a reason, and that's respectful because she is a woman, a black woman, a Dominican woman, so she's gonna stand by her man, which I respect. But there's consequence standing by your man when you know he's doing some effed up shit. But it comes with territory. You think enough black won't be that loyal like Nepal, but who knows? What I can say. I have nothing against her. She's doing what she should be doing as a woman. So right now, Soundnetter could do what he want at the end of the day. End of the day is Brother Polight was a cash cow to Soundnetter. And once he know that he can't make much more money on Polight, he has things that right now he could expose Polight right now as I speak. And I guarantee you, I won't be surprised in the coming days that he starts exposing them now to shield himself away from Polight if he's smart. Now, mind you, the people that follow him for years and decades, they're gonna have less respect for him anyway. But it'd be more respectful that he just let it all hang out and just reveal what's in the curtain. That'd be the best advice Soundnetter could do right now. Anyway. That's it, guys. That's it for me tonight. Please, like always, hit the like button, share the stream. Also, please hit the comment section of the end of this video. I'm looking forward to hearing from y'all. I want to hear y'all take on this. This was a long one. Might do some of this video. I'm not sure. We shall see. And please donate the channel. I appreciate y'all donate to this channel. As you know, getting the super chat, it does help, but it does not really help favoring the AdSense. So whatever money you guys can give me, if y'all give me a super chats, I will kindly appreciate it. I prefer something that's at least $10 or more in regards to Google's super chat, because let's be honest, 30% from what I'm looking at, it doesn't seem like it like it's less. It seemed like it's a lot to me that when they take 30%, from what I'm noticing. That's just me. But if you give me something at that large amount, which is not $10 ain't crap on a super chat, but it's something better than $5, I would appreciate more. But if you give me in less ounces, like under $10, you can get that to me on a Cash App. Wherever contribution will all be great, and great for not only for the Chaos Reign Show, but also to help to really, add more things to the show, which with the help with your contributions to the show. But other than that, Yeah, the conscious community will accept him back, but probably an older man in some other organization. Yeah, if they're smart, they won't do that. Anyway, I'm done. Thank y'all for watching this thing. And like always, thank us. Rain.